The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, king of beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light. Jumping up, Dolly Vision's dreaming real. True crime scene flash feels so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Jack's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, king of beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light.
What is up, YouTube? It is your boy Dolly back in the house again tonight. And of course, I got the lovely PJ with me. And y'all already know the routine. Leave your DNA all over that like button just in case you go missing in the hills of Tennessee. You don't want to go missing. Dolly will come look for you. Only though if you hit that like button. Also, help us hit 60,000. But if you're brand new, sub up. And what should they do?
Hit the like button.
They should hit the like button, but they should also ring the bell for notifications. You were a little off, PJ. You're a little off. You got to ring the damn bell for notifications. So today we're talking about Summer Wells. Does anybody out there remember that little girl? Anybody? It's almost a cold case these days. And a lot of these people, that said they would never leave little Summer Wells behind. I guess they found them a new cash cow, and they've been making videos every day about another little kid from Tennessee. But you don't hear very much about Summer Wells anymore. So tonight, we haven't forgot that girl. Have you forgot her, PJ? We definitely ain't forgot, because if it wasn't for little Summer Wells, Dolly wouldn't be here today in the true crime genre. That is the case that got me into true crime. This beautiful little girl's face that went missing, of course, in the hills of Tennessee, right? Damn Tennessee and these missing people. Also, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Delphi murders tonight. Also, we're going to keep following up on the Jen Soto, Maddie Soto case, okay? So as we talk each case, we will be opening up the phone lines for you guys to call in and talk about the topic at hand. Now, listen. If you want to call in and talk to me about your day or your grandmother's cooking recipe, save that for a day where it's just Dolly hanging out with you guys. Today, please try to stay on topic. Okay, we get a lot of phone calls, and a lot of times they are way, way off topic. Okay, so we're going to do this in segments. The first segment, of course, Summer Wells. The second segment will be Delphi murders. The third segment will be Maddie and Jen Soto. So when we open the phone lines, try to stick to that. Don't call in talking about P. Diddy or anything else other than what we are talking about tonight. We're going to try to keep it on track. Jack says he's the first one on the train that says, "Hey, Dolly and P Jiggy." Just kidding. Had to see your face reaction. Good to see y'all. Not too late tonight. Good timing. Just got off work. It is absolutely good to see you too, Jax. And like I was saying in the very beginning, there's a lot of people that, they found them another case to cover in Tennessee, and they just left little Summer Wells behind. A lot of these people went down there and called themselves child advocates. And there's one thing you've never heard Dolly say. I don't consider myself a child advocate. I look for missing people. I'm not an advocate. I'm a YouTube dude that talks about missing people. You never heard me say, this is my job. I'm an advocate, and then leave these kids behind and forget they totally exist because something else brings you more clicks and views. Now, I remember back when I started talking about Summer Wells, I remember the first person that told me about it. It was Stony Stone. And I was talking about Gabby Petito. I talked about entertainment news. I like the P. Diddy stuff. That's what I talked about. But then, I was talking about Gabby Petito because at the time I didn't fly, right? So I was building me a van to drive across country because Dolly was scared to fly. And somewhere in that process, the country singer, Ryan Upchurch, came into the room and he said, "Hey, I'm going to give you a ticket to my show in Nashville." And he gave me some money. So what I did was I had to get rid of some of my fear and jump on a plane and fly to Nashville. Because at that point, I was living in a really small bubble. Okay. But with that little bit of help and that little push, I was able to pop that little bubble and create a big, huge bubble. And now I've been flying all over the country. I jump on a plane like that, right? It ain't a big deal. From Vegas to Idaho to Boston to Nashville to Texas, you name it. I done flew a little bit of everywhere now. And the fear is pretty much completely gone of flying. So that kind of led me down this path of, the rabbit hole that was Summer Wells. Stony Stone came in the room and said, "Dolly, have you ever heard about this case?" And I was like, "Nah." He was like, "Well, this is a crazy one. You ain't going to believe it. You got to check it out." And for some of you guys that have been around for a long time, y'all may remember that. Do you remember that, PJ?
I remember.
You remember it. So still to this day, I remember the minute he told me about Little Summer Wells. And, he planted the seed. Okay. He also knew where Callie Rodney was at before anybody. Stony Stone did. He said, "Dolly, you should go check. She's right off the water. She's in that lake." Right. And I just thought he was full of shit. Right. Stony Stone. He just coming up with something. He's like, "No, I'm telling you, man, she's about 15 feet off that down in the water." And he was absolutely right. So, but what he did that night was he planted the seed in my head about Summer Wells. So I had never talked about Summer Wells. And next thing you know, I'm pulling up YouTube videos, right, of Little Summer Wells. And something in that story grabbed me by the heart. It's really the first one that really grabbed me and made me think, what can I do to help these kids? I mean, I'm not a child advocate. I'm just a regular dude. But what can I do to help, right? And instantly, I wanted to look, right? I was like, man, what can one person do to help, right? I had never done anything like this before. But what I did was I got too close to the Summer Wells rabbit hole. And let me tell you, this rabbit hole goes really, really deep, right, PJ? You get too close to it, you fall into it. Next thing you know, you're at 110 Ben Hill
That's
Road.
what I was just getting
right?
ready to say. You're at their house.
You're at their house. Next thing you know, you in the hills of Tennessee. And, the very first time I went there by myself. And I was searching the woods. I was searching around the area, which probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but I was pretty new into true crime. I didn't know how dangerous it was searching them hills and them hollers. And, from there, I started trying to help all kind of people, right? Never claimed that this was my job. Never claimed that I was a child advocate, because a lot of these people that say that, they're full of shit, right? They're on to the next click and view, whatever is big. You just think about this. For everybody that said they're going to be around till Summer was found, where are they at? Okay, because I'm looking around and I don't see very many Summer videos anymore. Everything is Sebastian Rogers. Okay, that's it. Everything, every single thing. It's like everybody forgot about every other kid that was missing, right? But we didn't. There's still a lot of people missing out of Tennessee other than that kid. Not that that kid ain't important, but there's other kids just as important as that kid. Okay. Sarcasm for Fun has just gifted 10 Dolly memberships. Jump on the train with Jax. Come on. Get your ass on the train. Get you a nice seat.
Did a gifted membership before we started.
Short Legs, thank you so much to all you guys that have been liking, supporting the videos. It means the world to us. So like I said, you end up on Ben Hill Road when you get too close to this story. So that's pretty much what happened. You know, I went out there, started searching multiple times in that area, seeing what I could do to help. Now, some of these people that were going down there was attacking the family like crazy. It wasn't so much about looking for Summer Wells. You know me, I went down there putting up banners, searching, looking. Other people were trying to destroy the family, right? It was attack on Candace and Don Wells, just constant with no proof. Now, listen, I've always had my opinion about this, just my opinion. And I state that, hey, you know, sometimes Dolly can be wrong. I don't really know. I wasn't there. Thank you, Jax. Jax just gifted 5 memberships. And Betsy has been a member for 19 months of the Turtle Gang Strong. So a lot of you guys remember this, my first trips to Kingsport, Tennessee. And one of the things that got me thinking about it today, really, and had me thinking about little Summer Wells all day today was during the day, I watched this channel called Pedo Poachers, okay, where they basically get these guys that talk to young underage girls and then they go bust them, okay? Well, crazy as it may be, they just happen to be in Kingsport, Tennessee today. And I was watching the video. I was like, why does this look so familiar? Right? Like everything they're showing is like, have I been here? Wherever I didn't know where they were at. Right. But then, of course, when the perp went to jail, the police pulled up and they were in a Kingsport, Tennessee car. And I was thinking, okay, this is a sign that we need to talk about little Summer Wells. Okay. Sometimes signs come in different forms, but since I seen Kingsport, the first thing I thought about was Summer Wells. And the crazy thing is the dude from Pedo Poachers, he was saying, hey, you know, we done busted so many people in this town for
a tiny area.
It is tiny, right? So he was talking about how many people they had done hemmed up. And these were some younger guys that he busted a younger dude that actually watched his show and knew who he was when he got busted, right? So this dude was watching stuff about people getting caught because he was probably trying to figure out ways to do it without getting caught, right? That's what I truly think. So it made me think, well, man, there's a lot of monsters in Kingsport, Tennessee. Now, a lot, you know, me, myself, you know, I've never changed. I sat and met with Don and Candace. Me and PJ both did, right? We sat and hung out with them at their house. And, you know, they knew what I said about them before I met with them, that I believe that Summer Wells died in a tragic accident and they covered it up. Now, they've always said that Summer ran off or somebody took her down the dog trail. But, you know, when we go back to the story, right, in the very beginning, you know, when this was all going on, the first place when Don come from work is he went to the shed. Okay, y'all all remember that Don showed up at the shed, that the boys were down there looking. That always made me think that Summer may have went to that shed before. That's what gave them the reason to go there first to search. It only makes sense, right? Why would they go there first unless Summer had been there before? So they went there to check. Now, this shed is the shed that I hung the big banner on that says, "Where is Summer Wells?" It is still there to this day, still nice and bright and colorful, so everybody that's riding down Beach Creek can see this big banner, right? I'm surprised at how many years these banners that I bought, because a lot of people like to buy these billboards and rip people off with billboards and raise money that half of it goes in their pocket and half of it goes to wherever it goes. And me, myself, I think that's not probably the best way to go when you can buy banners and hang these banners. And sometimes they last. The banners, like I use, are big screens and then they're painted with the images and everything on it full color. The one I put in Fruitland, Idaho from Monkey Michael Vaughn, it's still there. The one I put in Kingsport, Tennessee for Summer Wells on Beach Creek, it's still there. And now these banners may have cost me like maybe $200, right? But it ain't the thousands having to be raised for these big billboards. Dr. Latina, thank you. Thank you so much. But I thought it was a good, affordable way to help, something that I could do, because I was on that kind of mission. What can one person really do to help? And let me tell you, one person can do a lot. I mean, a lot. I've helped plenty of families up here, done plenty of things from paying people's rent, buying people's Christmas, to just all hanging banners for missing kids, searching, helping families, just like we help Mata's friends and acquaintances up there in Manassas, right? Just like I helped Jake Fetter, just like I helped, what was the girl from Northern Virginia? Her dad, I forget her name right off. Avra Hooks, right? Just like I helped her family. So one person can do a lot.
It wasn't Avriel. It was Avriel.
Avriel Hooks.
Yeah.
I know her last name was Hooks. So me and Jim went out searching for his daughter that day. Tragically, they found her dead that day, right? That was one of the craziest cases I've ever went and helped a family on, because they took me right under their wing. Mm-hmm. And I was in the trenches with her daddy. And it was the most emotional roller coaster that you could ever take, right? And sadly, after the dad attacked the killer, that was crazy. He tried to put a cigarette out in his eyeball. And
then he called me to tell me about it.
Yeah. And then, I'm trying to get the daddy out of there, keep him from going to jail. And his daughter's body's in the trunk of the car, right? Crazy, right? But I can tell you now that one person can make a big difference. So if you're sitting around thinking to yourself, well, I'm just one person.
From Tennessee to Virginia.
And he was from Kingsport, right? He was from Kingsport, but his daughter lived here in Virginia.
Thank you, Sarcasm.
Thank you, Sarcasm. So if you're sitting around thinking, what can one person do to help? Yeah, a lot. You can do a lot. And you would be surprised at what you can do when you put your mind to it. So like I said, this Summer Wells thing helped me help a lot of other people along the way, because if it was for Summer Wells grabbing my heart like that, would I have been there to help Jim? Would I have been in DC to help Mata? Would I have been in all these places to help these families? Right? Probably not, right? Because I'd have still been talking about P. Diddy and Tekashi 6ix9ine and shit, right? So how quickly your life can change. And when that little seed that got planted by Stony Stone, it completely changed my life. It changed the course that I was on to a whole different path that I had. It's like I came to a path and I was given a decision. Do I go this way or do I go this way? And I think I chose the right path of being there, trying to help people the best that I can as one person. Now, I ain't Superman. I don't claim to be, but I can tell you that if I can make a difference, each and every one of you can make a difference in these cases. Like I said, when I sat with Don and Candace Wells, I told them the same thing. I said, I think a tragic accident happened and you guys covered it up, right? And they told me, nah, that didn't happen. That Summer basically was taken or either wandered off and somebody took her. Now, I still think the same thing that I thought in the beginning, that something tragic happened, maybe dry drowning. There was a lot of rumors about that. And I always thought of heat stroke, okay? Because children overheat way quicker than adults do. You don't even have to be that hot for a child to overheat in a car, right? It can be 80 degrees outside and the temperatures in the car can easily reach over 120 degrees. That is way too hot for any kid. And when we hear the stories, we hear about them going to the pond, right? And then they get in the car. Then they go to the pharmacy. They go to the grocery store. And according to Hunter, they were in the store for a good amount of time. No AC in the car. You know, there's two conflicting stories. The first time Hunter told it, he said they were sitting in the hot car. The second time he told it, when he was up here trying to grift money off his dying mama, right? He said, nah, the AC was on in the car. He's told two different stories. And, you know, there was rumors that this boy was sleeping with Candace Wells. They're just rumors. According to, what was his name? Jose, that passed away in California from a drug overdose in a homeless encampment. That's what happened to Jose. Jose said that, you know, that this little boy lost his V to Candace Wells. Now, you know, he's no longer here to tell us anything else, but he kind of made it out like he was a superhero and that he was doing everything around the house and there was some inappropriate things going on. But if Summer Wells did make it, right, I still believe the tragic accident, but there's always the possibility that I'm wrong. If she made it down to that shed, okay, now when you're on that hill, me and PJ both been out there. If you didn't know where that place was, could you find it?
No.
You really couldn't. You would need GPS coordinates. And
then that would probably go out.
Yeah, because you don't have no reception out there. So it's one of these places, if you didn't really know where it was at, it'd be pretty hard for you to find. Matter of fact,
then you came back with me the second time and didn't even know the house was on what side.
That was the third time.
The third time.
The third time PJ was with me. The first two times, I didn't even know where the house actually sat. You can see the driveway, but when it's summertime, the weeds and grass and trees, they're filled out. So you really can't even tell where the house is at. You cannot see it. Okay. So I thought the house was when you went up the driveway to the left, but really the house is when you go up the driveway to the right. Okay. So I was like, why can't I see the house? One, I wasn't looking in the right damn spot. You know, Dolly ain't the brightest person in the world, right? So I'm like, where the hell is the house? I never even seen the house, right? So the third time I go back, of course, we get in contact with
winter time.
No, it wasn't winter.
It was January, February.
Oh, you're right. It was winter because I remember it was snowing. Foliage. It was snowing.
Yeah, and there was no trees.
Yeah, so we get in contact with Don. We meet Don and we sit down with him. Okay, and this is the first time I met Candace Wells. The first time I met Don Wells, and you heard so much about the Wells on the internet that you think instantly they're monsters, just monsters, right? They're the worst of the worst. That's pretty much how the internet made them be. Y'all seen people out there get them fired from their jobs, screaming that they're baby killers, your baby's dead, you did it. Just, causing all kind of hell, right? So once I meet them, and you've seen, I've been watching these people on the internet for a good year almost, right? 6 months. And it wasn't really what I was expecting. I'm thinking cold-blooded killers are walking in and, these people are going to be drunks and like terrible, but that ain't really how they came across, right? Now, Candace, Don, listen, this is one thing I can say about Don Wells is Don Wells, when he is sober, he's real timid, soft-spoken guy. He ain't the same person. Soon as that dude gets a little bit of liquid courage in him, he is the most foul-mouthed, disgusting human being on the damn planet. Okay? Like
he pees on your bed.
He what?
He pees on your bed.
He pees on your bed?
Like a bad dog.
Like a bad dog. Okay. He likes to
on stream in front of you.
He likes to go to the bathroom while he's on live.
Call you the N-word.
Yeah, call you the N-word, go to the bathroom. And I have never cut anybody off from the show. Probably I had to cut Don Wells off. I stopped communication with him because he came up here drunk one night and I was trying to get him off the stream nicely because you could tell he was intoxicated and he
was mad. He came up here mad because Josh, you were playing Josh's stream where him and Josh were getting into it because somebody suggested it to you in chat.
Yeah, he was mad about me playing Josh's stream. He wasn't even mad about what I was saying. He was mad over something
He had
I
just gotten in the argument with Josh, and
Yeah,
so he
on the
was
lab,
mad that
right?
you were replaying it because someone in chat suggested that you play it, and I was in the chat like, I don't think that's a good idea, and then you played a little tiny bit of it, and there's Don.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh,
Well, he
no.
was sending us messages too. He was
Yeah, I
sending
know.
personal messages because a lot of people didn't know that we were, communicating with Don and Candace behind the scenes, and just civilly talking to them.
I mean, they're humans. People got upset when we communicated with them humanly, like they're supposed to just be shunned.
Because they listened, because they didn't want to talk to nobody, because the people that were showing up in Tennessee were showing up at their jobs. They were screaming and cussing, acting like idiots and shit out in front of their house. Yeah, and they're getting them fired thing, and without a lick of proof, just on what they think happened, right? Now, what if you're wrong? What if you're absolutely wrong and they didn't? I mean, I don't think everybody's wrong, but what if you are, right? You always got to keep that possibility that you could be wrong. And even when I covered the Sebastian Rogers case and I talked about Chris and Katie, I said, listen, keep sharing this boy's picture because Dolly could be wrong and they may not have nothing to do with it. And this kid is out there somewhere.
They made Sebastian look like he was handicapped, like he couldn't leave the house by himself, when in fact he could,
both that same thing applies for Don and Candace Wells. I mean, I can think an accident occurred, but I have no proof to that.
Right.
So you continue to share this little girl's picture just in case she did make it down to Beach Creek and somebody grabbed her.
It's just about the networking, the news on it. You're keeping media attention on it.
Yes, and awareness
to it.
That's
the word I was looking for.
Awareness. So there's always that possibility that you could be wrong. Now I know a lot of people, once they made up their mind that they did it, they think there can be no other possibilities. But listen, there's a lot of people that have been accused of stuff that they didn't do. Okay. Now, I don't know if that's the case in Don and Candace Wells. I don't know if that's the case in Chris and Katie, but I do know that we could be wrong, right? I don't know if we're wrong. I mean, you play the odds. And I think some of us may be right. And then there's always that possibility. So I try to treat people like that. Okay. That, it's just my opinion, and opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. And plus, it's not really my place to judge you. Okay. Because there's only one person that can judge you. And if they did do it and they get away with it, either family, okay, they got to answer to God. Okay. If you get away, if say the Tennessee police and TBI don't get you and you done something, you're going to pay at some point, right? It might not be in this life, but it may be when you try to get in those gates and they reject your ass with a, you know what I'm saying?
I can tell you that when I sat in that room with Candace, she's definitely paying. It's like she's carrying a burden that's so heavy. It almost feels like it's hard to breathe in the same room with her.
But if an accident occurred too, like I've always believed, she has to live with that, and maybe she was scared that she was going to go to jail. That's what I've always thought, that she's going to go to jail. And look at, because what makes me think they love their kids. They're dysfunctional, right? But what made me think they love their kids is, remember when social services tried to take their kids before Candace pulled out a shotgun and tried to shoot the people, right? And like, she didn't want to give up her kids. So it makes me think, if she didn't want to give up her kids, why would she purposely hurt her kid? And now everybody we met that are friends with Candace, what have they said about Candace? That they love her to death. They think she may have something to do with it, right? But they love Candace to death. That she's good with animals. She's, they just like her, right? Now I had multiple of her friends, right, hit me up behind the scenes and say, Dolly, we kind of think something like what you think. Something's happened.
Her one close friend always said, I keep telling her I'll write her in prison.
Yeah, I'll write her in prison. But she says Candace is an awesome person. She's taken care of her animals. She's lived with her, and she pretty much loves Candace to death, right? And then when I sat with Candace, it was like, I've seen people with no emotion. Okay, none. Leilani Simon, we're about to go down there, follow that case in Georgia. I've seen people with absolutely no emotion. Candace had all kind of emotions. One minute, she looked like she wanted to stab me in the face with a fork. And it took her a while to kind of warm, but she kind of liked PJ.
Well,
right?
That's because when I sat down, I could tell she was trying to look over and she looked like she was going to bite you.
Yeah. And me, when I looked at Candace, she looked like if she was going to unalive somebody, it was going to be me. Okay.
Well, I mean, so I basically sat down and pulled a picture out of my kid and was like, look, I have a daughter too. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she's human. She may not be a great person, in my opinion, but I mean, she's still human.
So slowly, right? Like I said, Don's real soft spoken. He's real timid when he's sober. He ain't this big badass that
kind of reminds me of how Stephen Stern talks.
Yeah, he ain't this big badass when he's a sober
Mhm.
guy. He's real timid, real soft spoken. So he was okay with me, right? Don was okay with me, but it took a little bit for Candace to warm up to me, right? You know, of course, Dolly's a big goofball, so slowly her evil look calmed down a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more, and then of course,
Hey, Granny.
she kind of opened up, you know, and started talking to me. At first, she wasn't saying nothing to me, and then she started to talk. And then, of course, you know, after sitting there with us a little while and they realizing, hey, we ain't the boogeyman and we are not here to get you. Okay. We're here to discuss this. What we want is to find your little girl. We want to look, we want to hunt, we want your help. You know, we want to put the sign in a better place. I want you to help me, Don, you know?
And that's when he was like, why don't y'all just come to the house?
Yeah. And then he was like, because I wanted his help. I wanted to clear up the signs, you know, even his sign, my signs, because they were getting grown with weeds and things like that. My whole thing was, I want your help. I want you to help me do it. And he agreed to that. He agreed to that and invited us to the house. And what I was saying about Candace's emotions was, we sat there with Candace while she cried, while Candace laughed. Well, sometimes she would appear happy. Sometimes she would appear sad. She would start crying. She pulled out the family photos, right? And she showed us every picture she had of Summer Wells. And the crazy thing is this, guys, and there's so many pictures of Summer Wells that are not on the internet. It's like they choose the worst pictures ever to put on the internet. I even told her, I said, the picture that you see, even in my thumbnail today, I had a photographer take that and enhance that photo. So that's an enhanced photo. It wasn't even that clear. It wasn't that resolution. So I paid a photographer to fix that picture for me. And that's why I have that one good picture that I use of Summer Wells. But they had some really great pictures of Summer Wells and the boys. And I looked right at Candace and I said, Candace, why don't you show the world all these good memories, all these good photos of Summer? You know, let the world see some of this, because, you know, every photo we see, it looks like she's dirty and she's, you know, but she's a little country girl, barefoot, running around. You know what I'm saying? So kids get dirty, especially kids in the South, because I grew up the same way, running around in the yard barefoot, climbing trees, bruises, you name it, right? And maybe it's just that country lifestyle. But she had all these other photos, and I was like, why don't you show the world? And she was like, this is what she told me. And I kind of believe what she said. She said, no matter what we put out or what we say,
we're going to make it look bad.
We're going to make it look bad. That the internet YouTubians, all right, because, you know, they coined the phrase YouTubians. I give them the credit for that one. That's good.
That was a good one.
That is a good one, right? Us YouTubians. We twist everything. No matter what they say, we're going to take their words and we're going to twist them.
And that's what I said when Katie came out and did her little interview she did. And everybody was like, oh, well, it's too late now. And you should have been out looking for your son. And that's the first thing that I said was that you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Same thing that Stephen Stern's parents said. They said, no matter what we say, it's going to get twisted. No matter what we do, it's going to get twisted. And I mean,
like people have an opinion already made, their mind is made up no matter what you say or do.
Just like the picture of the milk. So many people believe she was dead in the milk. And
do you really think that the experts couldn't figure that out? Law enforcement would just not know? Do you think
the parents of a child that's missing would put out a picture of her dead? Because they put that photo out, right? Nobody else had that photo. They did. Candace took it and put it on the internet. You think she would really post a picture of her daughter dead? Right? When she had hundreds of pictures that she could have posted, she's going to take the one where she's dead and put it on the internet. But that's what I mean about people twisting and coming up with their own, you know, look at the purple in her eyes. She got to be dead.
Look at her fingernails. Rigor mortis.
I mean,
it was crazy.
You name it, you heard it. okay, from dry drowning to damn
Well, that's
Hunter
because
killed
of
her
what
to
Hunter said happened and how she went under.
underwater. Yes.
And that's, I mean, that's
but people came with their own theories. He never said she was drowning or
he
anything
didn't
like
know
that.
anything about that. He said that she went under for a while and then he had grabbed her up and people were wondering how long. And then he said different things on how long it was till he pulled her back out.
Then people instantly jumped to dry drowning.
Right, because you can swallow a drop of water.
That's true, but that don't mean that happened.
I know.
That's just speculation. That's somebody's opinion. There's no proof that she dry drowned it. Okay, there's just not. But that's the facts. As she put that picture out, and everybody jumped to those conclusions. So she never said that. He never said that. But the rest of the internet was saying that, right? Even me, I had my opinion that, you know, being in that hot car all day long may have took that kid's life, because kids, there's a lady right now about to go to prison for leaving her kid in a hot car. And it happens a lot. People leave their kids in the car, even with the window crack, right? Even with the window crack, it can reach temperatures of 120 degrees on an 80-degree day. And this is a proven medical fact. Kids' bodies cannot take the heat like an adult. Okay. So once you start sweating and you run out of sweat.
That's why babies have febrile seizures when their temperature spikes.
Yes.
Because it's too hot, too soon, too fast. Like they go
into
seizure mode.
Can take temperatures that children cannot take. Like I can sit in a 120-degree car. It would kill a kid.
I can. It would kill me too.
You know what I'm saying? It would kill a kid.
It would kill me instantly.
So my theory was always, and this is just theory. It's not no fact to it. This is just what I thought, you know? And these people, they got to hear it. Right. And like I always tell people, keep the same energy. If you're going to say something on the internet, when you get in front of the people,
you better say it to their face.
You better be able to say it to their face. Okay. What you think. And you know, a lot of this is just my opinion. Just like I told Don, I was like, this is just my opinion. You know, I have no proof to this. But I told him the same thing I said. I think, you know, y'all covered this up and that little girl sat in that car for too long. And, you know, Don is one of those people, he likes to go to Jesus, right? Anytime he feels trapped or he gets to a question he don't want to answer, he kind of goes to, well, you know, God, the second, you know, the after
the bounty hunter does that too, apparently.
Yeah, some people do that. So Don was one of those people when you try to get to something, like you're trying to hit him with something that is kind of like boxing him in. He kind of goes to Jesus, right? But some of the stuff they're saying is right, that everything is flipped no matter what they say. And lately, you know, when they've been coming on the internet, they've been more sober. They've been taking parts in events for missing children, not only their kid, but other kids. And I mean, listen, it's better late than never, I think, in a situation like this. But all that aside, Summer Wells is still missing. Where is this little girl at, right? Did somebody really kidnap her? Or is it like a lot of us think that something tragic happened in that car that day, right? Or is it worse than that, that Don has sold Summer into sex trafficking, okay? Because listen, Tennessee,
it's worse than that.
It's bad for that type of stuff. Like I said, today I was watching stuff from Kingsport, Tennessee, of predators that were out there, young guys that were trying to mess with kids. So it seems like there's a lot of that in those hills. And there's the possibility that somebody out there, and it may not be Don and Candace. I know what y'all thinking, Dolly, you're crazy. You done lost your mind. No, because, you know, I still believe there's possibilities of both. They could have done it, but there's that possibility they didn't, and somebody else is involved. You had a lot of crazy people on that hill around there. You had Jody Sue Brown, and ain't nobody in here can tell me that lady ain't batshit nuts. Okay, she is batshit nuts. Imagine having that lady and her old creepy ass old man around there, right? You had Fred Hill, which looks like a super creep. I don't know the man personally, Ziggy. Don't get mad at me, your husband, right? But he looks like a super creep. And in this, it's like they basically live where the hills had eyes, right? That hills have eyes. And I know that for a fact because I was out there, and the whole time I was up in them holler, I felt like somebody was watching me, right? Literally felt like somebody was watching me. Maybe it was all them crazy ass dogs, but it was like, I just felt like somebody was watching me. And it got even creepier because at one point I'm way up the hill, up in the holler, and this car pulls down the road down what is it? Ben Hill, right? Ben Hill. I'm at Ben Hill and the street that's off of Ben Hill, but I'm at the top of the hill and this car pulls up right where my car was parked and it stopped, right? And at the distance, I couldn't see who was in the
Beach
car.
Creek.
Yeah, no, Beach Creek is the road, the main road. This was Ben Hill because I went down Ben Hill and went up to where the junkyard was. Y'all all know about the junkyard over there by Don and Candace Wells. I was up by the junkyard in Fred Hill's house. Okay. Matter of fact, I was standing exactly in front of Fred Hill's house. And this car pulls down Beach Creek and it gets to where my car is and stops. And I could tell the person was staring at me because they stopped for like 10 seconds. And I'm looking and I can just feel them looking at me and then they pull off. And I'm like, okay, let me get closer to my car. Cause at this point I'm unarmed. Okay. I'm in the middle of nowhere, right? By myself with no phone reception. Okay. No phone reception. Probably not the next time, I'm in them hills, I'm going to have damn Starlink. You know what I'm saying? You ain't getting me like that again, right? I felt real vulnerable, right? Real vulnerable out there. And, a lot of these people don't like strangers in the hollers, right? Because everybody out there knows each other and they looking around like, who the hell is this guy creeping around in the woods, right? And everything's marked no trespassing. But Dolly, I look at them signs like I can't read anyway. Okay. I ain't have my glasses on. I ain't see the no trespassing sign. I'm all up in everything, right? That's just the way I do it. If I turn the camera off, that's because I'm about to jump a fence. Okay. Because I'm looking. There's a lot of rules. You know how some people say, well, I don't break the law. I just bend it to its breaking point, right? That's kind of how I operate. Fuck your fence, okay? I'm looking. If I'm going that far to look for something, your fence ain't stopping me. Your sign ain't stopping me. I'm doing what I got to do, right? I'm turning the camera off so everybody don't call the police, and I'm going where I want to go. So, but still, people told me after that first event, they were like, listen, Dolly, we from these hills, we from this area. We like what you're doing, but we don't want to see you get hurt. You're going out there where there's mines and wells and you could break a leg. There ain't no cell phone service and no way to contact anybody. You need to do the buddy system. I hate to tell you this, and I took that serious because now I don't really go into the woods like that by myself. The only time I'll really enter the woods if I have somebody with me or somebody's on the edge of the woods or somewhere around that knows I'm in these woods because of the dangers, right? Because even, let's just say little Sebastian Rogers, he got out there in the woods. He could have did the same thing, got hurt, a mine, a shaft, a well. And don't think people don't fall in manholes and things like that. Look at Caleb Harris down there in Corpus Christi, Texas, right? He fell in the manhole. So things happen. It's dangerous. You don't know the area and you're walking around. No trespassing. That didn't mean me. Yeah, it didn't say Dolly on it. It didn't say no trespassing Dolly. I thought they were talking about other people. Okay. I went up the dog trail and everything. You know what I'm saying? By then, what you go to, what is a trespassing charge anyway? It's a misdemeanor, right? They ain't gonna hold you but so long. And then when you go to court, what are you going to tell the judge? Hey, judge, I was out looking for a missing kid. It wasn't like I'm out.
You would totally tell him you couldn't read too.
Well, yeah, I would play the dumb role, man. I didn't see that sign. But I'm only looking for a missing kid. So I've always looked at it like this: is if somebody gives you a hard time about looking for a missing kid, something's wrong. That's because usually most people would be like, yeah, man, you can look around. I'm not worried about it, and then it would do mostly, what can I do to help you? Not try to hinder a search, right? So people that don't want you like around, that makes me sketchy and it makes me want to look even worse because why don't you want me to look? You know what I'm saying? If you ain't did nothing, but you got to remember there's a lot of reasons because apparently there was a lot of drugs being sold in that holler from Jody Sue Brown's husband to look like damn Fred Hill was running a meth lab. I don't know, allegedly. But there's a lot of
time for that.
There was a lot of drugs going in and out of that holler. So it made it a pretty dangerous situation because you don't know how people are going to act. You don't know what you could stumble across. Anything from moonshine stills to meth labs to maybe even people being trafficked, right? We just don't know. But I ain't thinking about none of that shit when I'm all up in the woods looking through people to junkyard and going up the dog trails and hopping little fences all down Beach Creek, right?
Scratch your eye.
Because Beach Creek is loaded with these little, I wouldn't say they're barbed wire fences, but they have barbed wire on the fences. There's like 3 rows of it. And then there's a pole and then there's another pole and they run this little barbed wire down it to keep you off people's properties, right? That's what it's made for. Does it work? I mean, I don't really think so. I mean, if you want to get over it, you can easily get over it, right? Same thing in Georgia. There was a lot of places I went down there searching in Georgia that was kind of like off limits, but once I was on that 4-wheeler, I'm going through, right? I'm going through. I didn't really have too many problems with that, even in Tennessee. But there were so many haters involved. If I would have done anything on camera, they're calling the police on me. They're doing these things, and all I'm out there is trying to do some good, right? Like a big dummy. I shouldn't have been a lot of this. I shouldn't have done by myself. But over this time, I have learned. Okay, I've learned a lot from that. But my whole moral of this is, people are saying, "Hey, we're not going to forget Summer Wells," and they were constantly talking about Summer Wells, but then they found something new. All right, they found something new, and this little girl has got left in the dust. Okay, just all these people that said they were going to stand by her, they ain't around no more. There's really nobody still going down there and doing the searching. They've moved on.
John and Candace were at an event, though.
Yeah, yes, they were, and there's
not
still,
in anything.
There's
that
still a couple people.
There's
still a couple people. I ain't gonna say nobody on YouTube, but a majority of these people that call themselves children advocates, right? Oh, I'm an advocate for children. They're gone. All right.
Yeah.
You're an advocate for whatever's big on YouTube. That's it. Right. Be honest about it. Don't sit here and say you're something that you're not. Right. Because there's a lot of people that do that. Right. And they scream, I'm an advocate. This Dolly don't scream that. I'm just a dumbass that looks for missing people. Okay. I know my role in this. I don't make up shit. I don't have to say I'm this and that and all this, but I can say that one idiot can make a difference if you put your heart and your mind into it. And people shouldn't give up on any of these people that are missing, right? Your Michael Monkey Vaughns, your Layla Santinella, everybody, even Sebastian Rogers. Now, some of this stuff got so drama filled that for my health's sake, I pulled out of talking about things because I don't want to be caught back and forth in the drama. It's turned into a big, basically shit show, right? But the one good thing that has happened is the circus around Summer Wells has died down, right? Because that's one of the reasons I stepped away from talking about Summer Wells. The same reason, right? And a lot of people are like, Dolly, why ain't you talking about it? Because when, you got to remember in the beginning when I was talking about it, you didn't have people like crazy people, Ernie Shells, Benny Keys, Jody Sue Browns, and just everybody was batshit nuts, right? And I was like, okay, I got people calling the FBI on me, okay? And all I was trying to do is help a kid. I got people just calling and complaining. They even called the damn dog catcher on me, all right? Like just stupid, crazy stuff to where I said, okay, I'm going to back away from the Summer Wells case because there's so many crazies involved, right? And that's what I did. So then, of course, there was a whole bunch of things that transpired since then, the Georgia events, all kinds of shit that I'd done, right? But I never forgot what got me into true crime, right? I never forgot about the little girl that, first got me out there in the woods searching. And I probably will never forget this little girl. Now, there might be a lot of people like that I don't keep up with or follow the case anymore, that some of them come to a conclusion. Okay. Like Jake Federlin, they found him, that came to a conclusion. So there's stuff that, of course, I'm not going to continue to talk about unless his ass goes missing again, right? Unless he goes missing again, which I don't think he will, hopefully. But it's always time when it calms down that you can circle back to these things and you can still try to continue to help. So for all you people that used this kid and didn't really care, shame on you, right? For all you people that try to destroy a family without solid evidence, shame on you. Okay. Now you can have your theories, right? Just like I had mine on Chris and Katie. But I always told people that I could be wrong. But when you're out there just saying things like it is fact, when you don't know for sure that it is fact, that's why I always tell people we talk news, rumors, gossip, speculation, theories mixed with comedy. Don't take nothing as fact. All right. Because I'm just a dude on YouTube. I can be completely wrong about a million things. And listen, I've been wrong before, but my batting average, I'm pretty good. Okay. I'm pretty good. I'll tell you now, if this was baseball, I wouldn't be sitting the bench. Okay. I'd be a damn MVP player because I'm pretty right on a lot of things. And my theories usually, they're pretty damn close in the end. Right. But we haven't got to a solution or in a lot of these cases. And maybe we will never get to that. We're going up on 3 years, Summer Wells. And after the 3-year point, no new information. That is when a case becomes a cold case. Okay. And Summer Wells right now is a cold case. What's going on down there in Hendersonville? That's not a cold case. That's only 7 months old. There's no information, but we don't know what the police have. But as far as the internet, y'all are kicking the same dead horse, talking about the same thing over and over again. It's like a record broke on repeat. Okay. And if you want to do that, or if you're just coming into it, right? Because, people see this and they're like, oh, and they try to jump into it for clicks and views, then of course you're not repeating yourself. But somebody that was down there from day one, when they first started searching, like for me, it's been a long time of talking about the case with nothing new in it, right? I can only do it so long before I'm just repeating the same thing to you guys every night. And I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? But if and some people just ain't going to stop. They're just not going to stop. It's like, to me, let something happen and we will get back to it. This, the thing in the Summer Wells case is the same thing. Really, too much hasn't happened. The only thing that's happened changing is a little bit of what the family is doing. Like she said, that Don and Candace have been taking part in these events for missing kids, their kids. And when I say all these advocates, I don't mean every YouTuber. Some of the YouTubers have been putting events together every year for, the disappearance of Summer Wells. And thank you guys for doing that. Thank you for the people that have been genuine, that really cared, because you can tell when it grabs somebody's heart, right? And that's, like I said, if it wasn't for this little girl, you might not be sitting here listening to me right now, even no matter what story you started following me on. Summer Wells was the first real story for me that made a change in my life. So when I look at my life now, it's the way it is because of little Summer Wells. So if there's one kid I want found more than anybody, and I mean anybody on this planet, I mean, all of them are important, don't get me wrong, but I want answers for Summer Wells, and I want them before I leave this world. Okay. I got close and I would have left with no answers, right? I want answers for this little girl before I leave. All right. So we're going to open up the phone lines. I want to talk to you guys a few minutes about little Summer Wells, and then we're going to jump on to a little bit of stuff on the Delphi murders. So let's open up the phone line. PJ's going to take your calls. What are you doing, woman?
I was just sitting here.
You just said I went on a rant. I went on a rant. I can't help it.
I don't have nothing to do, and now I got Lola.
You're about to take these calls. Okay,
no,
the phone line.
Nobody wants to talk to me. They don't want to talk to you.
They want to talk to you.
I just
all right, y'all call, hit the phone line, and y'all talk to PJ. Okay,
no.
It's PJ's turn. 757-797-6694. Let me refresh the phone lines. Did any of y'all forget? If you haven't, hit the like button on this video.
You're literally 0.5 away from 60,000.
We're 0.5 away from 60,000. So what are we, 59,500?
0.5.
So we need 500 people.
Uh-huh.
All right, 500 people. I know you're out there somewhere.
Accounts out.
No, we
not sock account.
PJ,
No. Hey.
told you.
Hi. Good, Miss Brenda. How are you? Okay.
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 I bought her a good dinner tonight.
He did. I had a fried chicken sandwich with bacon and French fries.
It looked good though. It,
It
did.
was so
I was
good.
kind of eyeing it because
It
you know
was
I can't
so
eat, I
good.
can't eat fried foods. Oh, hold on. We got to share the screen. They can't hear Miss Brenda. My bad. My bad, Miss Brenda. Hold on.
I'm talking you to it thought matters anyway.
Okay, now they can hear you. Now they can hear you. So did you want to
Okay.
did you want to tap in on the Summer Wells stuff that we were talking about?
Maybe that's when I really started watching you is during the summer whales. That little baby just got my heart. I pray so every night, even still now. I pray to God that somehow that baby will be found. I mean that baby right there just stole my heart. 100 just stole my heart.
That's how I felt about it too. I mean, like I never like I've watched, you know, John Benet Ramsey. I was into the Delphi murders. They never made me want to do anything though. You know what I'm saying? They didn't make me go, what can I do to help? Summer Wells made me go, what can I do to help? I just felt
Yeah.
so bad for her because like
Hey, if it was able, I'd been in there in them woods.
it was like
But
I think it was just like her upbringing and what happened to her, you know, how it transpired that I don't know, it just grabbed me and like I was waking up every morning looking for new
That-
information on Summer Wells.
that baby never had a chance. That baby never had a chance.
You know, I mean, I don't know. It all depends on what happened. You know, what do you think happened, Miss Brenda? What is your theory on it?
I honestly think
My lips.
that they were swimming, they had a good time, and everything like that. And I honestly think that baby overheat. Then you got to remember, she had sweat clothes on.
Yes. Yes.
It's summertime.
Yes.
She'd been in the car for several hours. I honestly think she had a heat stroke and died in that car.
See,
That's exactly what I think happened.
that's always what I lean towards too. That it was hot that day. She was dressed really warm. They went into the store, and I think that Hunter was playing on his phone. He wasn't paying her no mind, and she just sat there and sweat.
What
You know?
while I
Yeah.
have you guys both believing that, what makes you think that the cops and the scent dogs wouldn't detect the odor of a human decomposing body?
Because I believe she when they got to the house, I believe that they left Summer in the car.
So
And
that would also lead to body decomp.
I mean,
Whether
it depends.
it's a couple minutes.
It depends if she was clinging to life, and when they pulled her out in the car, then she died. You know, like that don't mean she was actually physically dead in the car. She could have been on her way out in the car. So it looks like, you know, when they came home, they brought the groceries in, and Candace went to her mom's to fix her. Remember her brace on her knee, right? And then
I think they actually took a nap because she had gotten her medications.
Then
Candace.
Then there's a
said they took a
scream
nap,
that
or she took a nap.
Jody Sue Brown's daughter heard a scream. I think that's when they went to the car and Summer was unresponsive.
You would still have decomp.
Not if she's
Love you.
dead. Not if she's not dead. You don't get decomposition until you're physically dead.
All right. So
Okay.
at what point is she dead?
And it takes more than 30 minutes for something like that for a dog to smell. The reason I'm
And them dogs ain't worth a damn anyway.
My opinion. My brother died in my house. Okay. And he was in there for several hours. He died in my arms.
Uh-huh.
You could not smell nothing.
Yeah.
At all.
Maybe
you
not.
Could not.
Who knows?
You could not smell anything, PJ, at all, honey. And my husband, I woke up the day after Christmas and he was dead. And I was in the living room watching TV.
Right.
I didn't know he died.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother-in-law come over to borrow a battery. So I told him you had to go ahead and get it. And I went to wake my husband up to tell him that Anthony was going to take a battery. And that's when I found him dead. They said he'd been dead for 3 or 4 hours, and I honestly did not know it. I thought he was just sleeping.
Okay.
And I felt nothing.
Yeah.
So it was more than just a couple of hours for body odor to start.
Yeah, well, usually when people die, they defecate on themselves. But look, Miss Brenda, we're running out of time. I appreciate you calling in.
Thank you, and I love you all.
All right, you be
Have a
good.
good night, Miss Brenda.
All right, peace.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, them dogs, I don't buy it. I don't trust any of them dogs. Look at Brian Kohlberg, not Brian Kohlberger, but Brian Laundrie. He was 2 feet off the path. They had cadaver dogs, search dogs. Not one of them dogs smelled him. So, Dolly.
Hey, Dolly.
Hey, Granny
Hey,
Bassmaster.
Granny.
How are you doing?
I'm just chilling. PJ's going to take your call.
She wants to talk to you.
I'm hanging in.
Are you feeling better, Granny?
Not really, but
You
I'm
sound sick.
hanging in.
Yeah, you sound like you don't feel good, Granny.
Definitely hang in there.
Well, I'm walking by faith, not by sight.
Okay, well, we will throw a little prayer out there for you tonight. Make sure y'all throw some
Definitely.
prayers for Granny. She's not feeling good.
Oh, thank you. But I'm with PJ. She had passed away in the back of that car. Those dogs could have smelled it. It doesn't take long.
But here's the thing: if she was having a heat stroke and she pulled her out that car non-responsive, then she didn't die in the car. You know,
They had
just
to bring
because
her
they
inside.
then she may have died inside,
They
or she
would've
may have
smelled
died
it
outside.
inside.
They would. Them dogs are stupid as hell. I don't believe any of that shit. Them dogs sniffing shit out like that. I've seen too many dogs walk right past dead bodies. Okay, walk right past them. So you would think they would smell it, but some dogs are good, some dogs are ain't. It's just like some search people are good and some search people ain't.
Why do they use them for then?
Because sometimes they're good. But
So
that don't
all
mean
the times where you'd want them not to be good, they're not good. But
well,
when they're
it
good,
depends
they're
how
good.
good who trains the dog.
Right.
And how the dog is trained.
At
and
this point, I don't even know that they had dogs. So
and
it's
it's
like
maintained.
all of this stuff we got from Summer Wells was what Dawn told us.
Yeah.
Like, what info do we actually have from that case that was actual solid?
And that may not even
info?
happen at all. I'm just saying that, my theory has always been that. What about yours, Granny? What do you think happened?
Whatever happened, it was an accident. And it has snowballed way out of control. And they were afraid that
Right there.
they were afraid they were going to get in trouble. And
Mm-hmm.
they hid the body. They got rid of it. But I do believe that she's gone. But I don't think they intentionally killed her. I just do not.
Yeah, I never felt like they did either.
And they should have owned it instead of hiding your body. But they knew that they were going to get in trouble and the boys were going to be pulled. Well, the boys got pulled anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they should have told the truth.
But I think they thought they were going to go to jail, and they didn't want to go to jail for like neglect, and they covered it up. It was better for them to say she's ran off than for them to get locked up behind it.
Lord, I don't think Candace cares if she goes to jail or not. Dawn does.
Oh no, I think she cares. That's why they ain't never said nothing. I think they care about jail.
Well, that would eat me alive.
That's the only reason I believe that they did hand her off to somebody is because your natural instinct as a human, you don't lie when you're that boozed up. And she's never been able to just completely spill her guts. And she literally, they keep saying that somebody took her. And if that's true, technically, then it's like they're not lying in their brain. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like,
I see what you're saying. But I don't think anything that happened to her that led to her death was intentionally done. I think it was an accident.
Yeah, I've always felt like that too. I didn't think they would purposely kill Summer. Why kill Summer and not the boys?
Somebody
Yeah.
accidentally
Yeah.
essayed too hard. I agree.
She's somewhere
Yeah,
up there, probably within a 5-mile radius
I
of that
agree.
house.
I agree with that too. Even Detective Pruitt thinks the same thing, that she's somewhere in that holler.
Don Wells owns like 13 acres.
Yeah.
And every time that I tried to get us up there, it was some kind of excuse as to why we could. He was okay with showing you the BB guns in the backyard and the hill and the
The
stuff by the
garages.
truck.
He had the
and the
garages
garage.
open.
But
Yeah.
like a week later, when I was trying to contact Candace to set up that we go back and go, on the actual property, because I'm like, oh, you guys have like 13 acres. We can, drone over certain areas, and you guys can talk about all the good things about Summer. And it was always just, oh, well, I got to see if Dawn is okay with it. And then something came up to where the friend was like, well, I'll make sure I go with all of you guys. That way it's like a smooth, conversation.
Yeah.
And then it was always just, oh, well, Dawn doesn't, or, it's just like, you could tell it was just an excuse after excuse as to why.
A lot of people were saying that they never searched at all, but then Don pulled out videos of him out there searching.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they were for show, but I do know for a fact he had videos of him out there searching because I've seen him with my own eyes. So when I told him, I said, y'all ain't out here searching. He was like, that's not true. I've searched. And I was like, I kind of gave him that look like, I don't believe you, Don Wells, right? And he pulled out his phone, he pulled out the videos, and he started playing the videos of him searching. So I don't know if that's for show.
I think that's for show because Wells
It's for show.
helped to do that.
And I have often wondered if they didn't hide her for a while in that shed until they could.
I always thought something was up with the shed.
Don's sister said that was the drop-off point. Like it's almost as if they would drop her
Yeah,
there
but
to
I
get
don't
picked
know.
up.
They're
It's
so
weird.
far away. How the hell do they know what's going on in Tennessee when they're so far away? Right? Like,
I believe that she was in that shed at some point before they was able to bury her or take her somewhere else. I really believe that.
Yeah, I know they had, and this ain't no lie, they had hundreds of people out there in the beginning searching that hill, the holler. I mean,
how well do they go through all that though? You seen how hard it is to get just up their driveway.
I'm sure
I had a hard time.
But even if you go back and look at the videos, they were hand to hand walking them fields, them woods, and I'm talking hundreds of people. I ain't talking about just a handful.
They
of
were
people.
hand in hand, just walking through the fields. But I didn't see them walking up the hills and through the cliffs.
Oh
and
yeah,
over
they were
where
all
they were
in
at.
it because they had the dudes with all the mountain climbing gear that was from the fire departments. They brought in so many people in the beginning to search them hills, and it's dangerous. So everybody can't search certain areas. And look, if you need all that to get to it, you got to remember they would have to have it to get to that location too. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So if you got to use mountain climbing gear to get up a part of a section, so would Don Wells. He ain't Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying?
Don ain't gonna climb up no rock formation.
That's what I'm saying. So they had helicopters, they had horseback, they had four-wheelers, they had hundreds, and I mean hundreds, over 300 people out there searching, and turned up nothing. So I believe she's outside the perimeter a little bit of that 5 miles, and she's somewhere though in the Beach Creek area is what I truly believe.
We live down in a holler here, and there's a lot of land. Lord, we could hide a body. You'd never find it out here.
It's hard to find people in Tennessee. Like when you go missing in Tennessee, you just not found. But look, Granny, we're out of time. I appreciate you calling. You be good. Better. I hope you feel better.
Y'all take care and watch y'all's top notch.
All right, you too. Peace. Yeah, so there was a lot of people out there searching. She would probably have to be outside the perimeter. I know a lot of people have rumored, hey, there's wells on the property. There
is a well in a house that.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, this is Debbie from Kentucky. First time I've ever called in. I've just got something I want to say that happened back in 1982 where I live. And if this had happened if it went the wrong way, my sister could have been going through what everybody's going through now with all the accusations. Her little boy was out in the backyard, in my backyard. She was mowing. He was walking right along beside her.
Uh-huh.
And I had 3 kids, and they were bigger, and they had been in that backyard many a time. Okay, do you know that he was right there beside her, and she turned around. He was gone. Just gone.
That's usually how it happens.
What happened was a place he stepped on the soft ground, he went straight down.
Collapsed.
Straight down. And she saw the blonde of his hair. He was holding on to the branches in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
Or he would have went straight down. It was like an old cistern there. And see, she would have been going through it. Something like that can happen. Those little kids, they go, and it wasn't a very big hole either. I've got the clipping.
Sinkholes. Have you seen that house that got swallowed? There was a family in bed, and the sinkhole swallowed the house.
The sandcastle girl was building a sandcastle, and she freaking caved in.
Yeah, I mean,
oh
it
my
happens.
God.
It really does happen. I mean, it sounds crazy, but yeah, ground collapses. You step on a weak spot, you just next thing you know, you underground.
Yeah, I mean, he did. I mean, just a little tiny hole. You wouldn't even have noticed it, but she saw the blonde of his hair sticking up. Because if he'd have went down, they would have never got him out. He would have, have drowned in the water. But there are things that happen out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people told me. Don't do it alone because there's mine shaft, there's wells.
That's right. Don't be alone.
Yeah, and they were like, yo, you could be out here trying to do the right thing, and next thing you know, we out here looking for you.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, I just want to let you know, I've got that. I may email you that clipping. That's been a long time, but you can see how small the hole was where you wouldn't even notice it if you walked right over it. It was that small, looking for somebody. But that's just truly amazing. She would have went through ridicule. What'd you do to your kid?
Yeah.
When it was just a natural little accident.
Yeah, accidents do happen. Yeah, like the bumper sticker shit happens because it really does. It does. Sometimes the truth is crazier than what you can think of in your head.
Exactly.
So, hey.
And the sad point to all this actually comes down to when he turned 19, he was shot and killed.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my God.
But, it just broke our hearts. But, when he was little, this did happen. It really did. Like I said, I've got the clipping in there. The news station come out trying to let people beware of what could be in their yard. You don't know.
Yeah. Okay, well, look, hey, we appreciate you calling in. You've been good. It was good talking to you.
You too. Peace.
All right, peace. Yeah, I mean, anything can happen, right? Like, listen, I know you said something about the wells, but the police said they searched the wells. They searched underneath the house in the crawl space. This is coming from Pruitt, okay? Because, everybody on the tip line is, they get so many calls from shit they hear on YouTube. Dolly,
Richard.
What up, Richard? What up, Richard?
Not much. What y'all talking about? I got on late. I just got off.
Oh, we were talking about the Summer Well stuff, but we're getting ready to move on to the Delphi shit before it gets too late.
Summer Wells, that poor girl.
Yeah. So,
I don't know. I think you've been right from the beginning. I think she's right there somewhere, probably within 2 miles of that house.
Yeah, I don't think she's real far from the house. I think she's outside that 5 mile perimeter, though. Or she's been took.
She's inside.
By somebody away from the property.
But y'all hung a banner on that road, didn't y'all? Was it that busy?
Yeah, I hung it on the busiest road, which is Beach Creek, right? And then it stayed there for like a year. And then I went back I went back a couple times. One time to clean it off. And then other people were going by and cleaning it for me. And they were cutting Don Wells's grass. I don't know why they were cutting Don Wells's grass, but they were. People just trying to help, right?
Yeah,
and so I guess while they were out there cleaning off my sign, they were cutting the grass and things like that. And then when I went back and actually met with Don and Candace, me and Don and Candace moved it from the trees that it was in to the barn that a lot of people.
Yeah, I saw that clip. I saw that on one of your old videos.
Yeah, we moved it to the barn, and Don actually helped me.
I took a picture of it.
Yeah, and the crazy thing,
the trees, right?
The crazy thing was, I looked back at Don. I said, "Hey, Don, you got something to cut this rope with?" And he pulled a knife out, and I was thinking, "Damn, this dude's been standing behind me with a knife the whole time." You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
both y'all with a gun.
Yeah, I know. So we were strapped up just in case they were serial killers. You know, we don't
But
know.
that's the thing.
I was
You
more
think
concerned when
somebody
you
could
went
have
out back
got her?
with the BB gun with him.
Huh?
You
Sorry.
think somebody really could have got her?
If they didn't do anything. I mean, the possibilities there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I truly think an accident happened, but I can't say I'm right because I don't have no proof to that. So there is the possibility that she could have got down to that hill and somebody seen her and grabbed her. There's a lot of weirdos in that area just from today. Like I was watching, like I said, pedo approachers, and they were busting people left and right in Kingsport for trying to hook up with kids.
See, and I always thought something happened where you were swimming in that hole.
In what hole?
Well, you went swimming and would just.
Oh,
you put the-
a lot of people think I was looking for. It's in the beginning of my intro. A lot of people think I was looking for summer whales in the
you're
lake.
looking for a phone, right?
I was looking for a phone. Okay,
Mhm.
there were some rumors because Dolly, I'll check up on rumors that somebody
Yeah.
stood out there and threw a phone over there, right? So I was going down looking for the phone, and
Yeah.
not only did somebody say it, but somebody close to Candace told me this, that there was another phone, and that phone allegedly got broke, okay, and thrown in a lake.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, they wasn't
somebody-
sure. It was rumors to them too that told me, but they said, "Hey, there may be something that was thrown into that lake." So when people were like, "Yo, he was searching for Summer in the lake," no, I wasn't looking for Summer. I was looking for the phone, the alleged phone that was missing. Okay, that I never
I bet
found.
you couldn't see the bottom of that damn place, could you?
You could, because some of it's really shallow, right?
Oh,
It's
wow.
shallow spots. And here's the thing, even for the people that want to know about summer going underwater. So when you're in that water, which a lot of people don't know because a lot of people ain't went swimming in that water, but I have. Okay. And when you go out, there's a ledge. You get to this ledge and it just drops off. Okay.
Oh, shit.
It ain't really deep. It's probably maybe 10 feet to the bottom once you step off that
That's
ledge.
deep for a little child.
That's deep for a little child, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's waist deep for a good 20 yards. And
Yeah.
if you don't move around in the water too much and you don't disturb the silk at the bottom, it's
Yeah,
pretty
like
clear.
that.
You can actually see. You can go down and well, a lot of it was me filling around in places I couldn't see. It's a lot of rocks. And I tell you one thing that's out there a lot, fish hooks. Okay.
Oh,
Literally,
man.
I had the diving knife with me and I was cutting fish. I was getting caught up in fish line. And here's the scary thing. You don't want to get under there and get stuck on something because then you'll drown.
Yeah, you can't get up.
Yeah. So that's why I carried the knife with me. And I was getting wrapped up in fishing wire while I was under there and I was cutting it off of me underwater. So
That's crazy.
yeah, I was looking for the phone, and then once it got to parts that I couldn't get to, of course, there's no way. It's fill around at that point,
Yeah.
Um,
Hope to find it.
hope. Yeah, a lot of hope, and just give it a try. You never know. But no, I never found the phone, but that's what I was looking for. And when you see it in the intro of the video of me in the water, that was me looking for that phone.
I watched it. I watched you go out there and you went the waves and then you swam out a little further and you swam out to the cove or the bend or something. And that's kind of what you showed on that video.
Oh, well, I mean, I actually went deep into the water too. Like, I don't know if it's in the video, but there's one part where I jump out the water and I kind of do what Jason Voorhees scene where he comes out the water. I just did that playing, but I did swim out into the deep and then jumped out the water like Jason Voorhees because I had the mask, the mask on. But that was playing. But when I was in the cove part, I was searching for the phone.
Yeah, I could tell you were looking for something, but I didn't know in the beginning what you were looking for until you said it.
And it wasn't just me looking. There was a bunch of women that were with me, and they were looking too. They were the ones feminine. You didn't see a phone in my hand. So they were feminine, and there was other ladies taking stuff out in the water. There was wood, tree branches, big rocks. So we were moving shit out the water as we were doing it, trash and debris. And a lot of that you don't see on tape, but that's what was actually going down.
So you think, what did your gut tell you happened? I mean, what have you always thought really
that
happened?
maybe the little girl died in the car, lost her life, either in the car or shortly when they got her back to the house. They discovered she was non-responsive.
Yeah. Yeah, that retired police officer, or what, a detective, that went down there and filmed, and she took him in the basement.
Chris McDonough. They were so mad at Chris McDonough because Chris McDonough promised how they were going to help him and do this and that for him, and then he went back and he just totally dogged them and made them out to be like they were killers. So
he thought that she died in the car or something, and that's why they put her on the milk, or to try to
yeah,
shoot
but
her.
I guess he promised them the world, and then really would just wanted to get in there and say bad things about him.
Figure it out, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he said things to get himself in that position to go through that house, and then when he made the videos, they wasn't what he told them.
He interviewed the teacher, that one teacher from the church or whatever. He interviewed the teacher, or the Sunday school teacher, or whatever she was. Yeah,
they had some nice words to say, and I mean not nice about Chris McDonough.
I know. I watched that. It was an older clip, but I watched it a while back just to kind of see about the Summer Wells case. And I don't know, it's just weird how, I wasn't really watching true crime then. Like, I didn't really start watching true crime until Sebastian went missing, really. I never changed up. Like, I told people what I seen there. I told people what we talked about, what we did. But I went back and just start saying, these, just bad things about them that I didn't experience. The dogs in that one video, was that out there at Summer Wells too? I didn't know it was a beagle. Okay, I thought that was a pit bull coming after me, and it was a beagle. Okay, and I ran. I didn't know what the hell. I just heard the dog barking and growling, and I could hear the rocks kicking. Right, the rocks kicking, and I was like, "Oh hell no!" And then trying to kick rocks. Then me and that dog had a Mexican standoff. Okay. So then wasn't there a horse too out there? A horse in the stables or something you went to? Yeah, but listen, so that dog that tried to attack me, okay, that was running and chasing me, growling, I tried to adopt that dog, okay, because they ended up taking the dogs from the Wells, okay. His name was Rocky, and it was Summer Wells's dog. And so there was the two ladies that were down at the lake with me. They had traveled across the country and they were out there searching with me in that lake. Them two ladies adopted two of the dogs, and they were like, "We just got two of the dogs." They still got Rocky, right? The dog because they seen the video of the dog chasing me, right? So I was like, I called the animal. They were like, "If you call now, you can get it. Do you want the dog?" And I was like, "I'll take the dog." You know what I'm saying? I'll give this dog a good home. So I called the animal shelter, and Rocky had just got adopted right when I called. Right? They were like, "We just adopted the dog." I said, "Well, will you tell the people that adopted the dog that I want it?" You know what I'm saying? That I want it, and I'll give it a good home. And like, I don't know who's getting it, but if they're uncertain about it and they're just trying to be good people, that I will take the dog. Me and this dog have. I told the animal people, I was like, me and this dog already have a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Me and this dog, we've already had words. So but they were like. They were like, "Well, if anything happens, we'll call you back." And I left my number with them, but Rocky got adopted. Oh, well, at least I hopefully went to a good home. Okay. Well, anyway, Richard, we're out of time, man. I got to go. All right, man. Well, be careful. All right, buddy. All right. Peace. All right, guys. I got to jump into the rest of the stuff. PJ had to call tonight because she has to go to work in the morning. So I'm going to go ahead and, all right, last calls. So I know you guys, it's been a while since we talked about it. Everybody wants to talk about it, but we got to move on. Dolly.
Hey, Dolly. How are you? It's Shauna from Tennessee.
Hey, Shauna.
You sound good still. You sound all perked up. Hey, PJ. How are you, honey?
She's in there laying down, but I'm sure she's.
Oh, is she?
I've seen her in the chat, so she's still listening.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, PJ. Sorry, I'm on my phone, so I'm a little behind. I can't watch while I try to call, but just want to say real quick, I started following you when Sebastian went missing. I don't know. Sadly, I'm like 2.5, 3 hours from where Summer Wells went missing, and I had never heard of her until I started following your channel, which is so sad. I mean, heck, like I said, I'm 30 minutes from Hendersonville and 20 minutes from Clarksville, and I didn't even hear about Sebastian until you and another creator from Florida started covering it. Anyway, so I can't speak much on her, but I was listening to I forget their name about the sinkhole, the sinkholes and the mines up there. Like my husband is from Eastern Kentucky, Pike County, and they have a lot of mines up there and a lot of things like that. And they have found a lot of missing people in those places. I don't know what they have around the area where Summer went missing, but it's like you've always said, kids just don't disappear.
Yeah.
They don't just disappear. And I know you're backing off of Sebastian. And I called the other night and told you how, I respect that because all the bull crap.
Oh, at least to the circus ends.
Yes. No, I know you're always praying and thinking and not like you wouldn't pick it back up. But no, it's become a shit show. And a lot of that is because, in my opinion, and I've seen it firsthand, like I've told you, because of the company his father keeps. Bottom line, there are no sinkholes out there by where Sebastian lived. They've checked all the what do you call it, the drains and all that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very suspect. Bottom line, think about Maddie Soto went missing. They figured out what happened to her real quick. Now this guy,
that was good police work. That was really good police work.
It was, but you know what? I got to tell you, I've got kin in Whitesburg, Kentucky, where Joseph Couch went missing, and look who found him.
Yeah, the Hatfield and McCoy of Memphis.
Yes, and he's a McCoy and a Hatfield, and my husband knows that family because that's where he's from. That to me seems suspect as well. I will disagree with you when it comes to the dogs, respectfully.
Well, the dogs didn't find James Crouch. A lady.
Well, but guess what though? The handlers. It's the handlers. You give. It's like a horse. You give them so much rein, and they'll take the lead. It's
they didn't find Brian Laundrie.
Well, and I'm not very educated on that either, sadly, because I did not start following true crime until Sebastian.
Yeah.
So
and the dogs and Sebastian, they hit a false lead and ran to the damn water pump.
Yeah, but and I think that's suspect as well. Just saying. I know it's on the outside looking in. It's like me pretending that I know how to do a root canal by watching a YouTube video. You know what I mean? Or if I'm going to do,
I can tell you this: I've changed starters, alternators, learned how to print t-shirts, all that from YouTube. Okay.
Well, you're better than me because I'm not good at that shit. But
half the shit I know how to do is because I learned it from YouTube. Believe it or not, I swear to you.
No, I believe you because I've learned so much about true crime from YouTube, not from mainstream, even though I'm a handler and I work with dogs and all that. I feel like not all canines are the same.
They're not. That's what I tried to say. They're like people. Some people are good at things, and each dog has their own personality. So some dogs are really good at finding things, and some dogs ain't.
Right. And it depends on whether they're a bomb or a cadaver or in a car. Anyway, that's not why I called. I called to ask you a question. Well, first of all, I wanted to say, like I said, you sound amazing. You look amazing. Loving you from afar. Praying for you every day. I told you that you've helped my husband kind of come to grips with his health issues because he relates to you because he is a Williams, first of all, and he's also from your neck of the woods. Well,
he may be kin to me. I got a lot of family. My dad was a roamer. He got so many kids. Not too long ago, I had a chick hit me up and said, "I'm your sister." I was like, "Oh, okay."
See, and that's and that is my husband's dad. So you might freaking be kin somehow, some way.
Brothers. There's so many people. There's another Jimmy. Okay, I didn't know it till I was like a few years ago. And
the Jimmy Williams that I paid thinking it was you on.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, but
it might be.
A lady came over with some of my friends, and she worked for the Center for Lost and Exploited Children. And I was telling her I didn't know my dad. I was like, I don't know my dad. I believe he may have some
my
kids.
husband.
Listen, this lady goes and looks up. I guess she uses their stuff and looks up my dad, right? And she sends me a message. She's like, "Hey, I'm the chick that was at your house the other day. I hope you don't get mad, but I looked up your family." And I was like, I just wrote back like, "What?" And she was like, you might want to sit down for this. And I was like, huh? All right. And she goes, well, I found three people that are your brothers. I found your dad passed away in 2012, right?
Oh, don't tell me his name was David Williams, was it?
I got a brother named David. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
One
Jimmy,
of them.
we got to talk.
Here's the thing. The two brothers, right? The first one is Jimmy. I ain't gonna tell everybody my middle name, but
Of course not.
the other brother was my middle name. Okay. So
Wow, that's so.
I think I was named after two people I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know them. Right. So,
wow.
and this lady's like, I am positive this is your family. I was like, look, Williams is the most common last name in the country.
It really is. It's
right?
like Smith or Johnson.
It's like Smith or Johnson. There's so many, there's so many Williams. I was like, are you sure you're not mistaken? She said, you ain't going to believe this. This dude does the same thing you do for a living and drives the exact same vehicle that you drive. And I am positive this is your brother. And I'm like, wow. So she sends me his links, his phone numbers, his home address. Then she sends me the other twos. And okay, so you know me, I'm a big goofball. So I write him a letter that says, first I go on his page, right? His Facebook page. And I look and I was like, oh, this is crazy. This dude, he holds a class A CDL just like me, right?
What?
Yes.
Oh, this is crazy.
He drives the exact same Jeep as me. I'm talking about the model, the make, the same year, right?
Yeah.
He has the exact same name as me, right? I'm like, how the hell is this even possible? I'm that Jimmy, right? And so I write all three of them. I write one letter, but I send it to all three. And it was like, you know, hey, I think you might be my brother. You know, this is my mom. This is who my dad was. Look, I don't want nothing from you. I don't need anything, but it's nice to know if I ever need a kidney, there's one out there. You know what I'm saying? I said it just kind of joking. So,
and no, that's kind of funny you say that because my husband has done the same thing.
So my dad, this is where it gets tricky. My dad didn't have a middle name. He just had an initial.
Stop.
Right?
Stop.
So his middle initial was D. Okay. So
I don't know. He didn't have a middle initial or anything. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so this is how I find out that there's I got all these other siblings, like a bunch of them that I don't even know. Is that so I write the two of them don't write me back, but of course the dude with the same exact name as me writes me back. And he tells, and this is where it gets spooky. He tells me the same thing. Williams is one of the most common names in the country, bro. I think you may be mistaken.
Especially over there.
Right?
Yeah. Especially in the southeastern area. Yeah.
He goes, what was your dad's name? And I write it. And he goes, well, what was his middle name? And I said, well, he didn't have a middle name. He just used the letter D. And the next message was call me. Right.
Wow.
So when I called a guy, he goes, I am your brother. I remember your mother. Okay. He's like, and then he just goes into telling me about my dad because I never seen him. I never even, I never seen a picture of him. Matter of fact, it was my daughter's birthday. I took her to the circus and he sent me a picture. And I looked over at my daughter. I said, do you want to see your granddad? Because this will be the first time we'll see him together. Right. Because I'd never seen him. And he looked sneaky as shit. Okay. He looked like a crook. The first thought in my mind was my mama married this dude. Right. I swear to God, that was my first thought. Right. I was like, my mom married this scheming. He looked like Mr. Burns or something. Right. And I was just thinking, holy shit. Right. But he told me that when my dad divorced his mother, that he kind of floated around to Oklahoma, the damn Texas, the Mississippi, and had a bunch of other kids, right? So a chick from Vegas just hit me up. I hate to make this long, but she hit me up and said, hey,
no, you're fine. No, I love this because
she said,
you might be kin.
She said,
my husband and you might be.
She said, he so looked like a crook. See, my daughter's in the room right now, right? So this lady hits me up and she says, I got a hold of the other Jimmy. And that Jimmy told me about you, right? And because we had one sister, I guess, half. So somebody I didn't know. But she passed away. And he told me that his sister, which was his side of the family, she had passed away. So there's one sibling that is deceased. But he said he believed there was a couple other sisters, but he didn't know where they were at. He didn't know how many brothers there were, but he knew there was a couple girls in different states. And he was like, you know, I never really looked into it, but I had a few people, you know, you're not the first person to hit me up. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's pretty fucking weird. But apparently my dad liked to get around a lot. And he
Well, mine did too. And
he
I
had
got
kids
lots of
all
those
over.
half siblings, but
yeah, he had kids all over the damn place.
but it's like you said, like my husband's biological name is not Williams, but his mother was never married to Mr. Williams. And I don't know, we'll have to get like email or something, but I mean, because there's a David and a James on my husband's
Now
side.
here's the thing. Here's the
And
thing.
he's a Joseph.
None of us
Go
were
ahead.
Jameses. None of us were Jameses. We're all been
You were
Jimmy.
just Jimmy.
My
Yeah.
granddad was J.D. Williams. My father was Jimmy D. Williams. And I'm Jimmy.
Your biological
And
father?
my middle name starts with a D, but I ain't going to. My middle name is Dwayne. Okay, I'll tell y'all guys.
Oh, okay.
So we
No,
all
that makes sense.
we all have the same initials. It's just there was
I
J.D.
gotcha.
Williams, there was Jimmy D. Williams, and there's Jimmy Dwayne Williams. There's another Jimmy Williams.
See,
There's
because
a whole
my,
bunch. There's a
my
Dwayne
husband's is-
Williams.
yeah,
So
my husband's is David James.
yeah,
But his parent, my mother-in-law and him were never married. They weren't even together like much.
yeah. So I mean,
So that's crazy. Wow, but you all are from the same neck of the woods, is all I'm saying. So you might be cousins.
now I
if
was from
nothing else.
Georgia. They were from Alabama.
Oh, okay. Well, see,
Yeah.
my husband, his kin is from Eastern Kentucky and Virginia. So I wouldn't doubt y'all. Listen, we'll have to talk about that. I wouldn't doubt y'all are like distant cousins or something.
I don't know.
And y'all,
But look,
yeah,
hey, we're out of time. That got
yeah.
a little long.
Oh my God! But here's the reason I called. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent. I am going to be in Orlando and Kissimmee on Friday and Saturday.
Uh-huh.
I would love to go leave a little token of love at Maddie Soto's memorial site
Uh-huh.
for all the turtles and the grizzlies that can't get there, because I'll be there.
Okay.
And I've got about 7 hours to kill. Do you know, because I cannot find this out anywhere, if her memorial site is still out where her poor body was found? Do you know that? And it's
I think they cleaned it up. I'm not positive, but I think they did pretty much remove
okay. I'll try and email you to see if you can help me find out, because I'd like to go pay respects for those of us that, you know, can't get there personally.
Uh-huh.
I just feel compelled to do it since I'm going to be there.
Okay. Well,
That's the biggest reason I called.
Just videotape it and we'll air it here.
Okay. But if you can find out, you got my number, right?
No, I don't keep anybody's number.
Oh, shoot. Okay. So I'll just email you, right? At
Yeah.
Jimmy Jams.
Yes.
Okay. And maybe if you could, because you have a bigger reach, Lord knows, than I do. Because
Okay.
I've tried to look online. I'm getting conflicting reports. I've tried to reach out on the different channels and if anybody here in the Turtle Gang is local that can find out, drop me a message, because I really feel compelled to do that.
Well,
just
we
to pay
got
respect.
locals there because we got locals almost everywhere.
Okay, well, see, and
Right.
I've been reaching out, but I get there. Anyway, love you, Jimmy. Love you, PJ. Love you, Tiff.
All right,
You're
be
looking good. Love you,
Thanks.
Turtles.
All right,
Thanks,
peace.
Jimmy.
All right, so that got a little long and drawn out because I had to go through my family history with this lady. But like I said, there's I ain't the only one. You know what I'm saying? And what was crazy, like Tiff said, that she got to see her granddad for the first time I ever seen my dad. And it was her birthday. We were at the circus, and I remember we were at the circus, and I threw the horns up, and the dude that runs the circus show, he was on a horse, and he rode by and he threw his horns up at me and Tiff. I remember that from the circus. And I remember that was the first time I seen my dad. And I was like, yo, he looks sneaky. He looks like a criminal. You know what I'm saying? And that's honestly my first thought of seeing my father was, I can't believe my mom married this weird ass looking dude. Okay. I'm glad I look like my mother. I'm glad I look like my mother. So anyway, we're going to move on from the Summer Wells stuff. We've been talking about it for a little over an hour and a half. And it won't, trust me, it's not going to be the last time we talk about Summer Wells, because like I said, we didn't forget about this girl, because if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be here with you tonight talking about the true crime stuff that we're talking about with you tonight. All right, so now here, before I had a true crime channel, okay, before the 60,000 subscribers, the True Crime Every Night show, I was into one case, right? Like a lot of people were into John Benet Ramsey. A lot of people were into Casey Anthony, Chris Watts. That wasn't really my thing. One thing that I really got into, and I don't even know how I did this, but I don't even think it was YouTube. I think it was a TV show on regular TV. They covered the Delphi murders. Okay. And this was 5-6 years ago. And I was just interested in it. Like, oh, this is crazy. Like they didn't really have many clues 6 years ago. Basically nothing, right? They didn't even release the bridge guy yet for anybody that's been following the Delphi. So then the bridge guy comes out, and Lola, go in there. So the bridge guy comes out, and that was pretty new. So there was kind of the update with the bridge guy. And then maybe 2 years later, or a little more, they came out with the Anthony shots. Okay. For anybody that's just tuning in and don't know about the Delphi murders, okay, maybe this is your first time hearing about it. You didn't follow it. You may have missed it, or you're new to true crime. So Delphi, Indiana, these kids were catfished, okay? Abby and Libby were their names. They were basically on the internet talking to this, what they believe was this boy named Anthony Shots, okay? But Anthony Shots was just a catfish account. Somebody else had created that account. Now we pretty much know who created that account. That was Keegan Klein, okay? Which is this creepy ass, just horrible, disgusting ass dude. He looks disgusting. His behavior is disgusting, because right now he's sitting in jail for a bunch of child pee unrelated to the Delphi murders, okay? And he is Anthony Shots. This is where this shit gets crazy. Okay, so Anthony Shots is talking to Abby and Libby. They think it's this young, cute boy, and they're going to try to hook up with him, right? Because he's a male. At that time, Anthony Shots was a male model, okay? He's, believe it or not, Anthony Shots, the person that they use is now a police officer, okay? But then he was just a young male model that was modeling, and somebody took his pictures and used it to catfish Abby and Libby. So talking to them on, I believe it's Valentine's Day, he leads them to the train trestle in Delphi, okay, which is this bridge that probably nobody in their right mind should cross. And I'm going to bring you to that bridge, because I'm going out there for the trial. It starts October 14th. As soon as I'm done with Leilani Simon, I'm flying to Delphi. Okay, so I've always wanted to go across that bridge, but now they've rebuilt the bridge. They got side rails. It's not as dangerous. But I always thought to myself, why would two little girls be hanging out on this dangerous ass bridge? And why did their family take them out there? I know they regret it now, dropping them off out there, but they didn't know they wanted to go meet this boy. They just wanted to go out there. They just thought they wanted to go hang. For some reason, they took these kids out to the bridge, well, to the train tracks. So Anthony Shots, which is Keegan Klein, leads them to this bridge. Okay. Now this is where it gets a little weird. So Abby and Libby, they knew something was wrong. Okay. How they knew something was wrong, I don't know. But I believe it was Abby. Was it Libby? I'm not for sure. One of the girls pulled out their cell phone and they started filming. Okay. And what they filmed is now known as the bridge guy. Okay. It's hard to make out who he is. It's a guy walking with a little hoodie and hat on, and he has his hands in his pocket, and he walks up to him and he goes, this has kind of gotten to the point in true crime. Everybody knows it. He says, girls down the hill, right? Because they're on top of the bridge, and what is believed, he has a gun. Okay. A lot of people believe that he had a gun. Now we know that Keegan Klein led them to the bridge, right? This is where it gets crazy to me, because I almost think the person they have in custody is innocent. I almost think he's innocent. And it's weird because he has confessed. And you would think, well, why would an innocent person confess to murder? But people have confessed a lot of times to crimes they didn't commit, right? There's people that went to prison for confessing to crimes that they did not commit. So he does tell the police at one point, okay, let me just get into it before. I want to just walk you through it just in case you never heard of it. So they take the girls down the hill, the one person does, and you really can't clearly see who it was. They showed about 15, 20 seconds of the tape, all right, of the bridge guy. But the girls actually filmed over 1.5 minutes that's never been released. Okay. So we don't know what's on the rest of the tape. We only know what they put into the media. Now, these girls were taken about 1 mile from the train tracks and was left deceased in what some people believe was maybe a satanic cult or some type of cult activity had taken place, because one of the girls was completely drained of blood. Okay. Trigger warning, guys. And her clothes were removed and put onto the other girl. So whoever did this switched their clothes around, right? Which is strange, and placed them in what was believed to be a staged crime scene. Like that he laid them a certain way. He posed them a certain way with sticks and other things at the crime scene. So a lot of people started blaming Odinism, right? These Valhalla shit, right? And I'm thinking, this can't be, it don't make sense, right? It starts to get very, very strange, right? And it don't add up. It just, I mean, honestly, guys, it don't add up. So over them 4 years or 5 years, a lot of people were blamed because they were found on this dude's property. They blamed him, but he says he didn't do it, right? And they end up, okay, that they come up and they start asking, we're trying to find out who Anthony Schatz is. Okay. That's who the girls talk to. So it made you think, hey, Anthony Schatz has to be the killer. He led these girls to these train tracks, right? So they come out and they say they made an arrest. And I'm thinking, okay, they're finally going to charge Keegan Klein with the murders of Abby and Libby, because he's already in custody for child P, and he is Anthony Schatz. Okay. But they don't. They arrest Richard Allen, a guy that works at a CVS. Okay. Richard Allen, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, tells them that he was at the Trussell's that day. He kind of resembles the bridge guy, but you really can't tell. He looks a little thinner than the bridge guy to me. Okay. He actually looks a lot thinner. It depends what picture you look at him of, right? Old pictures, he does kind of look like the bridge guy. Newer pictures, not so much like the bridge guy. And I don't really know. I'm sometimes I say I'm a voice expert, but I can't really tell if it's him or not. But the crazy thing was, what's the chances of Keegan Klein leading these girls to the Trussell and then somebody completely different killing them, right? Now, we could say, okay, well, maybe they know each other, right? Richard Allen and Keegan Klein know each other and they planned this, okay? But there's no connection. The police have been able to make no connection to Keegan Klein to Richard Allen. Now, Richard Allen gets into jail for, you guys that follow in true crime and the Delphi murders. He starts acting crazy. He's eating paper. They keep him in a Bammer cell by himself on lockdown. And here's the thing. They don't put Richard Allen in jail when they arrest him. They put him in prison. Okay. Usually when you waiting to go to court, they put you in jail. They didn't put Richard Allen in jail. They put Richard Allen in prison. And he starts talking about he's being tortured in there. They're listening to him. Even his lawyer said that they couldn't, you know how you get privacy with your client and talk? They couldn't talk to him without being in front of people. The judge is acting crazy, right? They're trying to suppress information in the case. He confessed on a phone line, right, that he did it. but he says he confessed under stress, and that this cult inside the jail, which are all these guards that are into odonism, and the crazy thing is this, he wasn't lying. His lawyer said the same thing. They're wearing patches. They got odonism tattoos, and this is some of the guards, and these are the guards allegedly that had been treating Richard Allen bad, right? So finally, he gets moved. The judge, they try to take the judge off the case. It turns into a complete shit show, okay? A complete shit show in the Delphi murders. Now, here's the thing. Before I get into this video, I'm going to show about it, is if you do not connect him to Keegan, and here's another thing. After the murders of Abby and Libby, Anthony Schatz goes back online and starts talking to one of Abby and Libby's friends. Okay. So we know this is Keegan Kline, right? Allegedly. So the girl, for some reason, tells Anthony Schatz where she lives. Bad move. Don't get catfished out there. So this other young girl tells Keegan, which we believe is Keegan on the Anthony Schatz account, that where she lives. This girl says she goes to get off the school bus and she's walking up towards her house and she sees a man at her window with a damn ski mask on. Okay. At her window, and she runs. So my whole question is this: who the hell was the man with the ski mask? Okay. Was that Richard Allen? Was that Keegan Kline? Right. And are they in connection together? And where is the whole odonism thing is crazy, right? It's just absolutely crazy. Now let me get into this video real fast. Let me pull this up. And this is from Nancy, all right, Aunt Nancy, talking about the Delphi murders, okay? Because she may explain stuff a little bit better than I can explain it to you.
Breaking news tonight. The Delphi murders. Little Abby and Liberty both murdered. Tonight, the eerie ritual sacrifice murder claims. What is that? A ritual sacrifice murder? Is that the defense? And a mighty clash in court over the suspect's confessions. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us.
I said the same thing right there. I think it says Cinnamon Hot says, I think it's some kind of ring. I thought so too. Now they asked Keegan, was there anybody else that had access to his phone? He said his dad did. Okay. A lot of people think Keegan Kline's dad is the bridge guy. I've heard that. Keegan's the bridge guy. Richard Allen's the bridge guy. But listen, if you got all this speculation thrown around, now here's some evidence they do say they have against Richard Allen. They say they have an unspent bullet casing out of a gun that matches his gun. Okay. Unspent. That means the bullet's never been fired. How do you test ballistics on a bullet that has never been fired out the gun? Okay. This is a bullet that was ejected out the gun. Okay. And they're saying it's his bullet, right? But the gun they can't prove it was fired from his gun, right? The girls wasn't, from what I understand, were not shot. Okay. So these girls wasn't shot to death, right? So nobody went bang, bang, right? But they got an unspent that they found later on too, right? That they found later on, an unspent bullet. All right. They have that. And they have his jailhouse confession, all right, which I'm starting to really doubt his jailhouse confession. If I show up at this court and they do not connect this man to Keegan Kline, I do not see how they can find him guilty of the Delphi murders. I honestly think they're trying to railroad the wrong guy into a murder conviction. I hate to say that. I've always believed, when I found out that Anthony Schatz was the one that led them there, that person was Keegan Kline. I've always believed Keegan had something to do with the Delphi murders. He was the only one that knew they were going to be there. Okay. And if you can't explain that in the court, that, okay, this dude didn't lead them there, how did he know they were there? Did he just stumble across them and say, hey, I'm going to murder these two little girls today? And what's the chances of one psycho leading somebody to another psycho? What are the odds of that? I mean, you got better odds of getting struck by lightning, right? So this one right here is a damn mystery. Okay. It is a mystery.
What happened to Abby and Libby?
Right now, hearings are going on in that courtroom, and joining us at the courthouse, my longtime friend and colleague, Susan Hendricks, journalist, author of Down the Hill, My Descent into the Double Murder in Delphi. You may know her from my old TV home, HLM. Well, here she is now with us with the latest. Susan, welcome. What's happening? I'm hearing that there is a mighty clash of the titans in the courtroom over alleged confessions, statements that the suspect made, and also the state is trying to quash the defense that Odinists, which are kind of like they worship like Thor and the Valkyrie, they're actually claiming that they did it. I think it's a horrible move by the state. In fact, if I were prosecuting this, I would be mad if the defense didn't claim Odinists did the deed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an excellent point, Nancy. Great to see you. Really some heated moments, as you mentioned, in the courtroom. What will be admissible? What will the judge rule on this? What will be left out? But huge, I'll start with the confessions, the alleged confessions that Richard Allen made to his wife, Kathy, and his mother, who, by the way, are front row there in the hearings. And he mouthed the prisoner, Richard Allen, the suspect, "I love you," when leaving the courtroom.
All right, we got 900 likes and we got 1,200 people in the room. All right, real quick, I want you to do me a solid. I'm looking right at you. Look, I see you. I'm looking at you. So don't try to cheat me. I want you guys to give this video a like. All right, give it a like. And then once you do, I want you to shout out in the chat room where you're watching my ugly ass face from tonight. Okay, don't be scared. Hit that damn like button. All right, it helps me in the algorithm. It helps new people come in, new callers, things like that. And I can't hit that 60,000 without you. So hit that like button so maybe the algorithm picks us up a little bit. And shout out where you're watching from. I see Virginia's in the house. I see Cali in the house, North Dakota, right? Raleigh, North Carolina, Kentucky, South Carolina, more Cali, Arizona, Kansas, Georgia. Don't cheat now. I see you cheating over there. I'm watching you. Okay. Don't do Dolly dirty. Don't do me dirty tonight. All right. We got 1,200 in the room. Let's at least hit over 1,000. Help me out. Okay. Ohio, we even got Spain in the house, Indiana, right? So you know all about this Delphi stuff. Louisiana, Tennessee, Indiana, Alabama, New York, Port Swing in Texas, Michigan, Cali, Chicago, Houston, New Jersey, more Indiana. Somebody's from where the F, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Arkansas. Y'all guys are crazy. So we're at 59.5 thousand. So we're only 500 people away from that magic 60K. We get to party and celebrate like P. Diddy. I'm just kidding, not like P. Diddy. We ain't doing none of that. All right? We ain't no freak offs here on Dolly Vision. You ain't got to worry about it. We too old for all that anyway. We too old. So thank you guys that have hit the like button. And if you're super cool, share this video on your Facebook. All right. It don't hurt. Share my face every now and then. You ain't got to do it every day, but every now and then be like, look, I'm going to do Dolly a solid. I'm going to share his ugly ass on my Facebook feed. Listen, it's Halloween time. You want to scare some people? This face will do it. Okay. This face will do it.
So back to the Odinist theory. There's been several frank motions, and the judge has yet to rule on that. But that is where they're going. We're getting a taste of the defense theory during these hearings. Will it be admissible? And you bring up such a good point. Why not let it in? Because the one name they do want in, which is one of the Frank's motions, Brad Holder, the prosecution saying, look, he has an alibi. We don't want to allow this. But that does make sense. Let them have their theory.
Brad Holder, that's the dude that owned the property, I believe, right? Am I right? It's been so long. I believe Brad Holder is the one that owned the property that Abby and Libby was found on. Is that right? Or is that, I may be wrong. I'm not positive.
If he has an alibi, the jurors are going to see that. But several key decisions have to be made after this week, and I think it will give us an indication of what we'll hear during the trial in October.
What was the guy's name that owned the property? I remember he said that he didn't do it. His name is right on the top of my head too. Dolly, has anyone explored this man is threatening and confession? Some of these groups have done that type of thing. Yeah, I mean that's basically what they're saying is Ron Logan. That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, it was Ron Logan, and basically. What I understand was his alibi was a little messed up because he didn't have a driver's license and he was out driving around that day, right? He wasn't supposed to be driving. So he told some inconsistent statements because he didn't want to get himself in trouble. Brad is one of RA's attorneys. Okay. I was like, it's Ron Logan that owned the property. Thank you guys for reminding me. It's been a little bit, I haven't even talked about the Delphi in a little while. But a lot of people thought he may have done it. But listen, if you were going to murder somebody, would you drag them back to your property and kill them? Or would you have just killed them in the woods where it's not your property, right? And just left them there. So I don't think he done it. I think he suspended license, yes. And DUI, maybe. He was a drinker and he didn't have a license and he was out driving around is what allegedly he was doing. Yeah, and he's passed away. So he's not here to defend himself. But the rumors that circulated was that he wasn't there, that he was out driving around and he didn't want to tell the police because he had a suspended driver's license for DUI. So, but that ain't who they arrest anyway. They arrest Richard Allen. So it's like, if I was Richard Allen, my defense would be Keegan Kline. I would go in there and say, Keegan is Anthony Schatz. Keegan led these girls to the bridge. I had no way of knowing they were there. And if that shit don't mess up a jury, I don't know what will. Okay? Because then you throw Keegan into the picture. You're like, did this man do it? Right? Because he wasn't Anthony Schatz. They never accused Richard Allen of being Anthony Schatz. Okay, so whoever was Anthony Schatz has something to do with the murder of Abby and Libby. Okay, I think that's pretty common sense that if he catfished them, he made them go there, he has something to do with the killing. But that the state ain't even saying that. Okay, they're saying this man did it. He had an unspent bullet casing and he's confessed on a jail phone. It makes no sense. Zero sense whatsoever.
I want to first talk. We'll get to the Odinist claim that worshipers
1K, baby.
Thor
That's what I'm talking about.
and the Valkyrie, they committed the double murders. I'm going to get to that in a moment. But first, something that I understand a little bit better, the legal concept of confessions. And confessions, guys, joining me in addition to Susan Hendricks and an all-star panel is Rich Schoenstein. He's a renowned trial attorney, partner with Carter, Krinsky, and Drogan. Rich, thank you for being with us. He knows his way around a courtroom. Confessions, in my mind, come in all manner of modes. It doesn't have to be a videotaped confession where you get your Miranda rights.
He made two confessions. Okay, two confessions is what he made. On the phone. I believe they said he had a written confession, but I know he made two confessions on the phone. Now listen, there's been cases of people confessing to crimes they didn't commit. It ain't the first time, especially if they have some mental health problems. Okay, you did this, and they're like, you tell them they did it enough, then they going, I did it. Okay, sometimes you can implant these thoughts into people's head and make, and he said he did it, but you still got to prove to me how he knew these girls were going to be there and what role Anthony Schatz with his Keegan Kline played. If you can't explain the Keegan Kline thing to me, I could never convict this man. I couldn't put a man in prison for the rest of his life when there's so many other people that could have done it, right? Like that makes more sense. It don't even make sense for this man to do it, right? He worked at damn CVS. He was cooperative with the police. It makes no sense.
Rights first, and you're sitting there with your lawyer, or like you see on TV. It's not like that. Very often, a defendant such as
Wow, 1.3?
this guy, Richard Allen, the local pharmacy tech, says to his wife on the phone from the jail, basically, yeah, I did it. Okay, that's the confession, Rich Schoenstein.
That's right. That's absolutely right. You know, jurors have common sense. They apply their life experience. They understand a husband talking to his wife. So those words are to a jury perhaps more meaningful than something he would say.
I don't think so, because if you look at the history of time, so there's so many people that confess to crimes they didn't commit that it's not uncommon, right? You could go in there and show the jury, hey, this dude confessed to crimes he never did. 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 And also Richard Allen confessed to crimes he never did. And then you start going into the Keegan Klein thing, and then that is doubt. That is 100% without a shadow of a doubt. And if anybody has doubt in this, I do. Okay, because I believe if you don't tie him to Keegan Klein, you don't have a case. Okay, because Keegan Klein planned this, he executed this, and the profile Anthony Shots is responsible for this. If he has nothing to do with Keegan Klein and he has nothing to do with that profile that's Anthony Shots, then Richard Allen is not the killer of Abby and Libby. Okay, he's just an idiot that took credit for it. That's it, right? That means the real killer. I mean, the killer is in jail and he ain't never getting out because he has like 500 counts of child P on his computer. This dude didn't have anything like that, right? He didn't have no pictures of little kids, but guess who did? The person that was Anthony Shots that led them there. He had a whole computer full of child porn. And that's what he was doing. He was playing as this little boy and he was getting pictures of these girls. Okay. And he was trading it and stuff like that because he's a creepy weirdo. So you have to explain that to a jury, right? And when a jury hears that, and they're trying to suppress that shit, where he can't talk about this person, he can't talk about that person. Hell no. If you were trying to put me in prison for life, I would bring all that up. Okay, because that's the most important thing. If he did it, if Richard Allen did it, he didn't do it alone. So that means there is another killer or another person responsible for Abby and Libby's death that is out there. I mean, he may be in jail, but he's not been tried and convicted of that. It has been suppressed. See what I mean? So they're trying to railroad a man into jail. This man could have mental health problems. They said he was eating paper and shit when he got to jail, right? Acting crazy. And crazy people, if you're not in your right state of mind and they're telling you did something, you may confess, right? And I'm sure his lawyer is going to go all into this, okay? All into this. And if they withhold this, then they're railroading a possibly innocent man into prison for the rest of his life.
Say under police interrogation. That's him telling the truth to his own wife. And you can certainly see why the defense wants to keep out any version of a statement like that.
Okay, quick question. And remember, this is ping pong, not jest. I know you're used to standing up and making all sorts of complicated legal arguments, but what about the claim, and I certainly don't want to give the defense any ideas, that this was a marital communication protected by husband, wife.
Okay, somebody said, look at the West Memphis 3. They never really confessed, and the West Memphis 3 are guilty as shit. Some people are going to argue with me because, you know, HBO, Johnny Depp, the Dixie Chicks, Eddie Vedder, they put up millions of dollars and bought the family of deceased children. Okay. Marilyn Manson put up millions of dollars in the West Memphis 3. What is it? Damon Echoes. He is writing books on the occult right now. Okay. They are guilty child killers. When people say they're not child killers, then why did they plead guilty? They took the Alfred plea, which means they pled guilty and they were released from prison. It's 3 child killers, right? You heard, what is it? What's his name? Jesse Miss Kelly. Did I say it right? Man, it's been so long. Chased the boy down. One of the boys would have got away if he hadn't ran him down. Now, they said this boy was slow, so his confession was thrown out, right? But when you listen to Jesse on the phone, he holds normal conversations. He's talking to his girlfriend, right? Damien Echoes says he will go down as the West Memphis boogeyman. Kids will be looking under their bed for him. What innocent person says that, right? What innocent person says that? With all that money that came in from Eddie Vedder, Johnny Depp, Marilyn Manson, these evil ass people in this world. Listen, the only time evil people defend you is when you're evil. Okay. The West Memphis 3, for all I care, and y'all may disagree with this, they can burn in hell. I would never sell my kid out like that. Never in my life. You could have $100 million. In the beginning of this, the families were like, that we want them executed. We hope they die. By the time they got that money from Eddie Vedder, the Dixie Chicks, Marilyn Manson, and all these rich ass people, they're walking around with free West Memphis 3 shirts on. They sold their kid. They sold their kids. I can't even believe it, right? It hurts my heart. It really, truly does. And so many people, and one of my best friends used to believe, he used to support the West Memphis 3. He was all about free to West Memphis 3. That's one of the things we never agreed on. Listen, they said they were railroaded. They were different. That's why they were kids. Let me tell you, I grew up a metalhead, same shit, listen to Slayer, the same type of stuff. He told his doctor, he told his doctor that if you drink the blood from small kids, you get powers. He believed in the Satanic Bible. When they raided his cell, he had his name, his girlfriend's name, his child's name, and Crawley, right? So he definitely worshiped the devil. He lied so bad in court, like he didn't know who it was. He didn't know nothing about it, right? So he gets through, let's move forward till today, okay? This man gets out of prison. He goes on the talk shows. He writes a book on the occult. But you just told the court when you was a kid, you weren't satanic, right? It's you weren't satanic. But now you're an author on the occult, right? You told your psychiatrist that you wanted to kill children, that you wanted to drink their blood, that it gave you powers. You sat there in a prison interview and said you was the boogeyman, okay? When innocent people don't talk like that. And when they get out of prison, they all get back together, right? They all get back together. You know why? Because as kids, they were playing butt grab. They were sexually assaulting those kids, according to Jesse Miskelly. I think I'm right on his name. I may be wrong. There was 3 of them, right? There's 3 of them. There was a little blonde-haired curly boy. There's Damien Echoes, and then there's the Jesse Miskelly kid. So I always felt like they did it. Listen, I was them as a kid. I would have hung out with them. You know what I'm saying? I was in the same type of music, the same type of stuff. But you know what I never did? I never killed kids. I never wanted to hurt anybody. And I think that these people made kids like me look really bad. Okay. Made people scared of kids like me that were into like bands like Cannibal Corpse and Slayer, Megadeth, and all this type of music, right? But what it was they were monsters. They were simply just monsters. And they may be free right now, but the West Memphis 3, you're going to have to answer to God one day. You're going to have to, and you're going to pay your price for hurting those kids. And to the family that sold their children, you're going to have to answer for that too. And that's how sorry I got so off track, but as soon as I see them, it triggers me. It is one of those you want to trigger Dolly, say something about the West Memphis 3, right? Because I cannot believe it. I can tell you where I was at when they freed him. I was at a bar for lunch. I was working and I was at a bar and I was sitting beside this dude and it comes up, emergency trial for the West Memphis 3. And I had to go to the bathroom, right? I had to go to the bathroom. So I look at the dude next to me. I don't know him. This is a complete stranger. And I say, man, they better not let these MFers out, right? That's what I said. And I go to the bathroom, right? And I come back out and he goes, hey, man, you might not want to hear this, but they're releasing the West Memphis 3. And it was like a commercial break. And then it came back and boom, sure enough, they were releasing the West Memphis 3. And I was like, I cannot believe this shit. Okay. And I've always believed they were child killers. To this day, I believe they're child killers. And like I said, you got to answer to God.
Privilege, even though it was over a jailhouse phone.
I think there might be some.
Yes, there is a HBO special that was like huge back in the day for the West Memphis 3. There's 2 of them. And the directors, they favored the West Memphis 3. So they made it look like they were innocent, right? They started spinning the case and muddying the water, right? They muddied the water so bad, so bad purposely that they were able to get the West Memphis 3 out. But they did plead guilty. So technically, I don't give a fuck how much you like the West Memphis 3. They are convicted child killers that are walking the street right now.
Credit. I think there might be some credit to that. It is a communication. It is a private communication between husband and wife. So I'd have to look at local law on the marital privilege, which I don't know in that state to really understand if they have a shot at that. But he is talking to his wife.
Rich, I've got a way to defeat it.
Okay.
Got a way to defeat it. Here it is. If you utter a confidential communication, such as you tell your lawyer, I did it, I'm up S Creek without a paddle, that's protected under attorney-client privilege. But what if you say it at a cocktail party and everybody's standing around and can hear everything you say? You yourself, by saying it around other people, have waived your attorney-client privilege, and you cannot claim that at trial. Same thing here. This is how I would defeat husband-wife. He said it on a jailhouse phone. And everybody knows, and there's a sign up there says these are being recorded. So he willingly gave up that confidentiality. That's how I would attack it.
I like the argument. You're absolutely right about a cocktail party. If you say something to your lawyer in front of other people, there is no privilege. You've waived it because you've shared it with people you don't have a privilege with. So I think.
Have you? Okay. For these people I've seen saying that, the West Memphis 3 never did it. Okay. Marilyn Manson's connected to the Church of Satan, right? Y'all know that, right? That he's connected to the Church of Satan. All right. This kid was a alleged satanic kid. Marilyn Manson gave up millions of dollars for their defense and all these high, powerful lawyers that they brought in, right? Y'all know that, right? Why would a Satanist, an evil person, and you've heard what Marilyn Manson's been accused of, you ain't, it's almost like P. Diddy, okay? He's tying bitches up, beating, doing terrible drugging, just like P. Diddy. PJ, you need to go to bed. It's late. He is doing stuff just like P. Diddy. Right? And this man is evil. He belongs to the Church of Satan. I ain't saying his music's evil. It is evil-ish, but he is evil. And evil people don't help good people. That's all I'm going to say. Evil people do not help good people. And why would I be against people that are just like me? Right? Because it's the truth. They were sick ass little kids. Why didn't any other kids get killed? Right? It ended when they went to prison. Just facts. And, Depp and Manson have an album together. Yeah. Paradise Lost. It took me a minute to remember it. That is the 3-part documentary that HBO did that got them free. Okay, Paradise Lost. They dirtied and muddied the water so bad that by the end of it, the parents of the 3 kids were wearing free West Memphis 3 shirts. It is that bad. And if you ain't been around long enough to see it, listen, you're going to go watch it. And I'm going to tell you now that they're going to make you think that they're innocent. But if you watch everything, right, go on YouTube and start pulling up things on it and judge it for yourself. Watching that documentary is going to make you think they're innocent, but just go watch the courts where they're cross-examining Damien Echoes, right? And you tell me that guy ain't lying. You tell me you come in here with a straight face and tell me that guy didn't sit in court and lie about everything he said, then we're going to have to talk, okay? And maybe we'll do a show on the West Memphis 3 where you can call in, but I will play the shit for you, okay? Maybe tomorrow night we will talk about the West Memphis 3. Okay, and I will show you all the damaging evidence against these people and what they are doing right now at this very moment. Okay. The man is writing books on the occult right now. Tell me he ain't. Right. Like, if you're going to follow a story, follow it all the way. Don't follow a piece of it. Follow the whole story. That way you get the whole truth. Okay. Don't take pieces of it, because if you take pieces of it like HBO did, yeah, you can spin it to make anybody look innocent, right? Damn, Joe Exotic look innocent, you know what I'm saying? But the truth is this: these people are murderers. They're child killers. They're labeled child killers. If you think they ain't, they are. They were convicted in a court. They took that offer plea to get out. But they pretty much said, hey, if you ain't guilty, why would you plead guilty?
I think that's a pretty good argument that the phone was recorded and he knew that, and he didn't have any expectation of privacy or expectation of a private spousal conversation. It's a good argument.
Okay, we're learning a lot about the motions being filed. Guys, this is so critical because based on the outcome of these hearings, what evidence will or will not be presented in front of the jury is going to be determined. Back to Susan Hendricks joining us. Susan is joining us from the courthouse steps. She's been in the hearings. Explain to me
We will play the interviews where he said he was the boogeyman, how kids will have nightmares about him, right? You know, his psychiatrist said that, you know, he wanted to kill kids, that he wanted to drink their blood. He believed that blood of innocent blood gave you powers, not just drinking blood. It had to be the blood of kids, pure blood. Okay. And they go into it, right? And, you know, you can't use the doctor in court, but, you know, over the years, the doctors have come out and said, hey, this dude is, you know, you gotta take, if somebody's trying to make somebody look innocent, they can do that, right? But if somebody's trying to make you look guilty, they can do that also. So maybe the truth's somewhere in the middle. But when you start, like I said, getting Satanists donating millions of dollars to you, there's a reason they're donating millions of dollars, because it's evil. You're evil. And they wanted to help other evil people. Crazy as it is, I have no respect for any of them people in the West Memphis 3. That was blood money. You know, what y'all did is, you know, horrible. It is absolutely horrible, and it's unforgivable.
content of the alleged confessions.
Yes, with Dr. Monica Waller is her name, who treated Richard Allen in prison. And she is key for the prosecution. Will the judge allow her to testify during the trial? And what specifically did she hear? We are hearing that doctor, Dr. Monica Waller, heard incriminating statements from Richard Allen himself and maybe even confessions. So as we spoke of, confessions to the wife in the jailhouse phone call, the mother in the jailhouse phone.
No, I think some people, once the story was spun, they believed it. Okay. You know, HBO did a good job on their documentaries. They do good jobs. They were like, I think Netflix is really good now. I think Netflix is better than HBO. Right. But HBO sided with the West Memphis 3 for the story. Right. Because they had the scoop, because they could interview those. They were giving the interviews to HBO. So HBO's directors sided with the West Memphis 3. Right. And then once they put all this muddy the water and all this stuff, and they find evidence 5 years later and shit, like, no, you know, and they're throwing out the confessions because the boy don't know what he's talking about. You know, he's got some mental health problems. The boy, you listen to this boy on the phone, he hold a conversation just like me. Okay. And he went in there and said that he ran this boy down while they were raping these boys. One boy almost got away. He ran them down, called them, drug them back to Damien and the other boy, and they killed him. Now, this boy said this. He confessed to this. He didn't know what time it was, though. He had the time wrong. Okay. That's one thing was inconsistent in his statement, is the time was wrong. But everything else, they tied him up with the shoelaces and stuff, put him in the water. All that shit was detailed that only the killer would know, right? But that confession got thrown out because this boy has mental health issues. But when he's talking to his girlfriend on the phone, he's holding a normal damn conversation. Okay, so how mental is he? If he can sit there and talk about how much he misses his girlfriend and all these things, but he sit there and told the police that he ran this kid down while they raped and murdered his kids. The kids were sexually assaulted, right? How did he know? How did he know? So they lucked out on that. And listen, these bad people that save these murderers, they're going to pay for it. Y'all got me so off track. Y'all got me so off track.
Phone call. Now, the doctor in the prison, will that be admissible? We'll see what the judge rules on this.
And just wondering what the content of those confessions, those alleged confessions really are. You're seeing a sketch that was made based on eyewitness accounts of who was seen at the trestle.
Yeah, and I wouldn't doubt a lot of these celebrities are Satanists behind the scenes, okay? You know, a lot of these political people are Satanists. Remember that one general that was a Satanist? He had the damn eyebrows. I forget his name. And he was like a general in the army, and he was an open Satanist. Matter of fact, PJ was talking about that dude the other day and was pulling up his pictures. You know, I don't know why we were talking about Satanists, but he was a general in the army, and he was an open Satanist. Does anybody know his name in here?
Bridge when the girls were kidnapped and then murdered. Let me go out to Chris McDonough. He's director of the Cold Case Foundation, former homicide detective with, there's the video. There's the video that the girls took just before their deaths of the perp walking toward them on that trestle bridge. Chris McDonough worked over I will cover some of the West Memphis. I got to get the clips together because I can't, it's hard for me just to tell you. It's better for me to show you. Okay. I want to show you the damage and things against them. If you go watch HBO Paradise Lost, the 3-part docu-series, you're going to come in here and say they're innocent, Dolly. But if you look at the whole picture, okay, if you look at the whole picture till today, what's going on right now with the dude getting out of prison, writing books on the occult, saying he ain't part of the occult, you will go, okay, he's innocent. But then when you start to go, well, man, you're so fucking innocent. Why are you writing books on the occult? I thought you weren't satanic. Okay, but now you're satanic. Okay, now that you're free, you satanic as shit. All right, you involved in the occult. But when you was in there crying for your freedom, you won't. You were in there not only crying, but didn't care, didn't seem concerned. All right, like not a care in the world. Just puffing a cigarette, talking about, damn, I'm going to be known as the West Memphis boogeyman. Innocent people don't talk like that. And yes, I'm passionate about it. That's one of the cases that really trigger me because I feel like there's 3 killers that are walking around today, right? And a lot of people don't even know about it, right? It was before their time, or and a lot of people didn't care. But what made me pay so much close attention to it was because I was one of those kids. You know, I was into the same lifestyle that they were. Most of my friends were just like them, right? I had one friend that was satanic as hell. Now he's atheist. Okay. He says that, you know, he grew up and he's like, I'm just atheist. He ain't satanic no more. But as a kid, he thought he was satanic, right? Like all these kids listening to Slayer, wanting to worship the devil, thinking it's cool. And then they grow up and they go, well, that shit wasn't so cool. You know what I'm saying? And then they like, oh, I'm atheist. Me, I've always listened to music and I know it's entertainment. It don't matter what the music is about. Like I used to listen to Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse, Overkill. I mean, all these bands I grew up on, right? So when they were making them be like they were victims, I was like, wait a minute. Nobody's ever blamed me for murders. You know, nobody's ever blamed none of my friends for murders, right? Because you know why? Because we wasn't committing murders. The people didn't single them out because they were goth or metalheads. I mean, you look at my pictures from the same time frame. I had hair down to my ass wearing a Slayer t-shirt. Okay. It's when you believe these things and he acted on what he believed. And I guarantee you my friend that thought he was satanic as a kid, he would tell you the same thing that they did it. Okay. 300 homicide cases in his 25-year career. He's the host of YouTube channel The Interview Room. Chris McDonough, how insane does it make you when you hear about legal clashes in the courtroom where evidence could very well be suppressed? The jury may never hear about these multiple alleged confessions.
Yeah, I mean, that's from an investigative aspect, it's very frustrating, as you know more than anybody, Nancy. I mean,
we were talking about this guy earlier in the Summer Wells case. You see how things work? You know what I'm saying? I guess he's one of these. Chris McDonough's a legal expert. You know, I don't know, Nancy. I don't know.
you've done this so long, and you know the fact though that this guy, you know, we used to say, confess here, this line is recorded, right? And when an inmate does that, and then of course you have it with a jailer potentially hearing it, and then add on top of that, you have family members who may have heard it. We can
I mean, you know, the same, I was talking about confessions because the boy from the West Memphis 3 confessed and his confession was thrown out. You know what I'm saying? This dude, if y'all are saying they did, you know, you can confess to a crime you didn't commit, then if the West Memphis 3 didn't commit it, right, but they confessed and said things that insinuated they did it, then, you know, what's wrong with this dude saying shit? You know, does that make him guilty? You know, but I think this dude I don't think he's maybe completely innocent, but I think you have to tie him to Keegan Kline for it to be a full case. Okay. Because Keegan Kline is Anthony Shots, bottom line.
understand some of that, but you would hope that the system would work towards, you know, the victims here in relation.
One confession, the other two didn't, but the other one didn't want no parts of Damien Echoes when he was in prison. Part 2 of Paradise Lost. Y'all remember that? He wanted it to separate because he thought the only way he could fight it in court was to get away from Damien Echoes. All right, y'all seen it. Don't act brand new, right? Don't act brand new. And the Damien Echoes was saying all kind of shit that made him sound guilty. He got up in court and just completely straight lied. So make that make sense. Why lie? If you didn't do it, why are you lying? If you tell a little lie, it's to cover a big lie. All right? Simple as that.
Relationship to allowing that evidence in somewhere.
You know, Joe Scott Morgan is joining me, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University, author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon, and star of a hit series, Body Bags podcast with Joe Scott Morgan. Joe Scott.
He's a cool dude. I met Joseph Scott Morgan at CrimeCon, and I enjoy his podcast, Body Bags. So he was kind of cool to meet, you know. I think he does good work. He's pretty legit. Now, Chris McDonough, I don't know about that dude, right? But Joseph Scott Morgan, he's the dude to talk to.
Scott, you have very carefully studied the facts surrounding the actual murders. Wait for it. And now the defendant, Richard Matthew Allen, is claiming that his alleged confessions should be thrown out because he was under, quote, mental distress when he confessed to killing Abby and Liberty, aka Libby. Let's talk about what happened to Abby and Libby.
Yeah, you know, kind of dovetailing with what Chris had said there, Nancy. I'm fascinated by this aspect of this confession. Depending upon how how granular he got with this statement that he made. It's one thing for somebody to say, I killed them, okay? But I wonder how much detail is included in this alleged confession that he made to his wife, because that's a damning bit of information if he gets into the kind of granular detail that we're talking about relative to this very complex scene outdoors, out there adjacent to this trestle. How much information did he reveal about that? And is it going to be reflected in what the jury will eventually see in these images, and they're going to be absolutely ghastly, because we're talking about these two precious souls who were taken by sharp force injury. And that has been plainly stated. We're talking about a knife that was involved in this. And I think to a great degree, perhaps this is going to be overkill. There's going to be mutilation that's involved with that, if I dare use that word. And also what we are hearing in addition to that.
Stop. Joe Scott, you can't just drop a bomb and then just walk away like nothing happened. That doesn't work on crime stories.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go through and find some of these videos of the old trial, and then tomorrow we will go over it. There's plenty of interviews of, him being released, but I want to get to where, he was young, he was in court lying about being a Satanist and all that good stuff.
You just say mutilation. You think, what? I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that? I heard it. What do you mean by that?
I'll say it plainly. We're talking about perhaps to the point of a partial decapitation here, Nancy. And, when you look at that in light of a crime scene, you think about, well, what was necessary? I hate to put it this way. What was necessary to take somebody's life? Well, it's not just sufficient to merely stab one of these angels. Okay. That's not sufficient to this point. This rises to another level. We're talking about what was done with the bodies afterwards and how they were treated in this environment. And this is going to be damning, absolutely damning, because the people in the jury are going to see things there that they can't even begin to imagine in their worst possible nightmares.
Jump forward a little tiny bit.
Me, what's being heard, what was heard yesterday, and what's going to be heard.
And we just heard Nancy Richard Allen say, guys down the hill. As you know, Libby was brave enough to hit record on her phone. And her grandfather, Mike, has mentioned to me several times, look, I think if she made it home.
All right, let me play this clip. I hate to jump off topic real quick. Let me play this.
I knew from when I was real small that people were going to know who I was. I always had that feeling. I just never knew how they were going to learn. I kind of enjoy it because now, even after I die, people are going to remember me forever.
For murdering kids.
For years, people in West Memphis will tell their kids stories. It'll be like, sort of like I'm the West Memphis boogeyman. Little kids will be looking under their bed before they go to bed. Damien might be under there.
Does that sound like the words of an innocent man? Kids will be looking under their bed for me. Okay? He's the boogeyman. Let me play this. This is what I'm talking about. You tell me a person that says some shit like this that's sitting on death row. Okay?
From when I was real small, that people were going to know who I was. I always had that feeling. I just never knew how they were going to.
He ain't a child here. He's a grown-ass man here saying this. This is a grown-ass man saying this. This ain't when he was a kid. This is when he was sitting on death row. Okay? A grown-ass man saying that he's going to be, he always wanted to be famous. He knew he'd be remembered. That he's kind of glad, right? That he will be known as the West Memphis boogeyman. Kids will be looking under the bed for Damien. You tell me that shit is, this is the words of an innocent man. Tell me that is, tell me, would you want to be around this dude? Would you want to be around this dude?
Learn. I kind of enjoy it because now, even after.
He kind of enjoys it. He kind of enjoys being the murderer, the child killer. He kind of enjoys it. Right? No innocent person in their whole right mind would say something like this. Nobody. Not nobody.
After I die, people are going to remember me forever. They're going to talk about me for years. People in West Memphis will tell their kids stories.
No, yeah, we'll tell kids stories that you're a piece of shit, that you're a monster and you're walking free. That's the only story. Nobody respects you. Nobody gives two damns. I bet you 3 people bought your book. Okay. And you would probably bought 2 copies of it. Like, dude, if this is how you got to get famous or anybody knows your name, they only know your name because you're a piece of shit.
It'll be like, sort of like I'm the West Memphis boogeyman. Little kids will be looking under their bed before they go to bed. Damien might be under there.
That's who Marilyn Manson helped. Okay. That's who Marilyn Manson helped. And that's the reason he helped them. It is disgusting that our justice system let these people walk free. All right. And listen, I can't stand people that hurt kids. It is the worst crime you could commit in this world. All right. There is no forgiveness. There's none of this, right? When you get to Satan and you burn him for eternity, you got what you wanted. All right. You're on a one-way path to hell. And that's where you want to go, right? Good luck there. Good. If that's what you want, you're going to get what you want, right? You're going to meet Satan, that dude you've been worshiping since you was a little kid. You're going to meet that guy. All right. You're going to meet him. It's only a matter of time. Nobody lives forever. You're getting older. Everybody's getting older. You're going to meet your maker. Okay. You're going to meet the dude that you worship firsthand. And I hope Marilyn Manson's there with you.
She would have said, Grandpa, look at this creepy guy on the bridge. Look what I recorded. The defense does not want what's on Libby's phone to be admissible in court. The reasoning, they state, is that it was handed over too late in terms of discovery. It'll be interesting to see if it's allowed in, because to me, this is what is going to...
He don't have to answer to God because he's never going to meet God, right? You got to accept the Lord and Jesus as your savior. He's never going to meet God. He's going to meet who he wants to meet. He wants to meet Satan. He's going to meet the devil. Okay. Because that is the definition of evil. That is an evil. He was an evil boy and he is still an evil man. Okay. He can try to fool people. He bought his freedom. Johnny Depp, Dixie Chicks, Marilyn Manson. Y'all bought this killer's freedom. All right. Good job. Y'all won that one. All right. But in the end, you're going to pay for it. You know, you're going to pay for what you do on this planet. In this world, you will pay for what you've done.
Convict Richard Allen if he is guilty. That video that she was able to get. And I'm sitting with the family members, Nancy, of day one of the hearing. It's the first time I ever saw Richard Allen walk in person. And it was very eerie to see him sit down. He turns around, looks at me, Becky, Libby's grandmother, and Libby's grandmother's daughter, Tara, right in the...
Listen, I'm not saying there's not forgivable sins. I'm not God. I'm not Jesus. But you have to believe it, right? You can't just say, ask for forgiveness and be forgiven. You have to truly believe it. And you got to have it in your heart. Okay. If your heart is evil, you don't have that true forgiveness. You have to, in order for to be forgiven, you have to be genuinely sorry. You have to truly mean it from your heart. And these people don't mean that from their heart. They won't be forgiven. They are going to meet who they wanted to meet, since they were kids. Okay, this dude has been reading the Satanic Bible since he was a teenager. He's going to get to meet the devil. All right, he wins. He gets what he wants. All right, he's going to get what he wants in this world. When this life ends, he'll get exactly what he wanted. And let's just see if he, I don't think the streets are gold. I don't think it's everything it's made out to be. I tell you who don't want to go to hell, right? It's me. All right. I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to beat the devil. I don't want to see the devil. I don't want to be around evil. None of that stuff. I don't read the Satanic Bible. I read the Holy Bible. Okay. Totally different. In my belief system, you will burn for all eternity. Okay. You'll be away from God. You'll be away from the glory of God. And that is hell. I mean, that's just my belief system. Whatever you believe out there, that's truly on you. You know what I'm saying? But in my belief system, you're a monster and you will not be where I'm at. Simple as that.
The eyes and just glares at us and continue to do that throughout the hearing. And I was trying to get a read on him as I'm looking at him sitting there. And part of the evidence that Baldwin, the defense attorney, handed over to the judge had the crime scene photo on half of it. It's a split screen. He's waving it around. I'm sitting near the family. I could get a glimpse of the crime scene photos from the attorney. And I heard Tara say to Becky, close your eyes. It's that excruciating, but this is a necessary step before the trial. And I know that these families have been waiting a long time.
Well, if you're a Satanist, yeah, you're not probably not welcome here. You know what I'm saying? Do I want a bunch of Satanists in my chat room? No. I mean, if you Hindu, Buddhist, anything else but Satanist, you know, then maybe, you know, you don't belong here, right? I'm quick to tell you, I believe that the Lord Jesus is my Lord and Savior. And if you don't like that, then, you know, I'm a Christian man. I may not be the best Christian in the world. I'm not without sin, right? But I do believe in God. I do believe in a higher power. And I do believe in the devil. Okay. And just as real as God is, the devil is. And some people, when we leave this planet, you might meet God or you might not meet nobody, right? But if there is a devil, if there is, and I truly believe there is evil and evil is real, you're going to hell, right? He wants to. So just give him what he wants, you know? One, it clears up room, okay? Because I need some room when I get there. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got time for all that shit.
Time to be here, but very creepy throughout the hearing. Richard Allen turning around, staring me directly in the eyes. It doesn't move his gaze. It was something I've never seen before.
How dare he turn around and look at you and the victims' families and just glare at—
I'm not putting him in hell, right? Just Debbie, I'm not putting him in hell. He's putting himself there. Okay. When he did what he did and he worships what he worships, then he's putting himself there. I'm not judging the man. I'm just telling you what he's done. Okay. He has to answer to that. I can't answer to it for him, right? I can't be standing there going, put him in hell, right? He has to answer for it. His actions is what put in what he wants. Okay. That's what he wants. That's what he's wanted. So don't put that on me, right? Because that don't have nothing to do with me. These satanic people that you know, want to sacrifice kids and drink blood and baby tears, adrenochrome and shit, ain't got nothing to do with me. I just know this. There's a lot of good in this world, but there's also a lot of evil. Okay. And if you believe in God, you got to believe in Satan. Just simple as that. And I believe in both.
at you, and he's probably glaring at you because you're sitting with them. I mean, you know what, Chris McDonough, how many times in court, you're a veteran homicide investigator, have you been in court to testify? You got a murder, much less double murder of teen girls allegedly sitting there. They usually won't even meet your eye. But to turn around and glare at you in open court, that's a whole nother level right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that he allegedly is a child killer, that in of itself, it just gives you a little insight into potentially, you know, what the victims were seeing themselves
Hard to hear
that
that.
day at his hands. And the fact that the weapons, there are two weapons here potentially. You know, they found this round underneath one of the victims as well as a knife. You know, what Doc Morgan was talking about earlier, the viciousness and the brutality of that personalization by using that type of weapon. Now you add that to children. I can understand why the defense does not want him in the Department of Corrections right now. They'd rather have him in a better spot, i.e. in the jail.
Well, yes, Chris McDonough, because obviously he can't control himself. Okay, let me throw this out there. Who would be the best? You know what? Let me go to you, Joe Scott, and then I'll follow it up with Karen Stark. Joe Scott, you have been in court with a lot of killers, right? Because you're a death investigator.
Yeah, I don't have no problem saying that, you know, no Satanist here, okay? Because I don't want your evil around me, okay? This is my channel, my chat room. If you're Satanist, see your way out, okay? You any other religion that don't hurt people, you're more than welcome to stay, right? But if you are open Satanist and you in my room saying, hey, I'm a Satanist, get away from me because I don't want to be around evil. I want to be around nothing but good. I want to be around good souls, good people, live a good life, all right? And I don't want to be around bad. at all. I don't want to be around bad people, bad anything. I want nothing but positivity and good souls around me. All right. That's it. I mean, I don't have no problem saying that. If you evil, you don't belong around me anyway. I don't, do I respect people's religions? Yes. Do I respect evil people? No, I don't. So that's pretty easy to say for me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure I don't have a lot of Satanist people around me anyway, because why would a Satanist watch a good person that stands for what's right? They wouldn't. They'd be watching Marilyn Manson and Johnny Depp and the Dixie Chicks. Okay. So it is what it is.
Have you ever been on the elevator? Let's just pretend.
I hate to sound like a preacher tonight. You know what I'm saying? I hate to be preaching, but when you talk good and evil, there's no way not to sound a little preacherish, okay? Because we're talking about evil and things that are not right. And like I said, that's like, do I want to be around, killers? If you was a murderer, would I want you in here? No, I wouldn't. I don't want to be around. I want to see justice for these people that hurt people. That's what a good person would want. That's what a good soul would want. All right. If you're full of negativity and you're just a bad person, why would I want to associate with you? Right? Like, I want to be around good.
In the courthouse, somebody's standing right next to you and they stare. Does anybody turn around and look you right in the eyes on the elevator? No, they don't. Has that ever happened to you? And if so, how did it make you feel?
Well,
Preacherish.
even someone like me that's
word.
seen a thing or two, it creeps me out, certainly. And the idea that the stone cold gaze, that he would sit there and stare at the family in particular, and Susan as well, but sit there, and this goes to another piece, Nancy, the idea, Chris had mentioned this round that was found at the scene. He has, in my estimation at least, this thread that runs through him of what I refer to as menacing. That weapon, the firearm, was used, I believe, as an instrument of menacing with these children. It's the idea of taking that firearm and moving that slide back to rack it like this. And everybody that's ever watched a television show is familiar with that. These children that would have been there would have been menaced by that. And I think that this is a further continuation of him glaring, leaning in, glaring, and holding a gaze. It seems to be a pattern to me. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of Karen's area, but for me as an investigator, that's putting two and two together.
Buddhism is not a religion anyway. It's a philosophy. Okay. Buddhism is a philosophy. It's not a religion. So it's totally different.
You know what you're saying about racking the shotgun? I don't know if you remember Rifleman. It's an old black and white show. I was just a little girl, and I remember my older brother, would have it on, Rifleman, and at some point he'd ratchet.
Yeah.
And
No, because I believe some people play with Ouija boards out like entertainment. Now, if you worship the devil, then I would consider you evil. Okay, or you doing evil deeds, then I would consider you evil. Do people sin and make mistakes? Yes, they do. Right. And that is maybe things you can be forgiven for, and if you truly believe, according to the Bible, in your heart, that you're sorry for your sins and you ask God to forgive you. I believe we have a righteous God, a caring, loving God, and he will forgive you. Right. But you got to mean it. And God will know if you mean it, right? I may not know if you mean it, but the higher powers, they know everything, they see your intention. So, like I said, this ain't Sunday service, but I tell you, these people that hurt kids, they really do trigger me. Like, it's like bad, like it. And I probably shouldn't get so angry over it, but I do. I don't know why. I can't even control the anger. And that is just one of those things that trigger me. It's like a trigger word to me. As soon as I see it, it makes me upset. Dolly, thank you. I hope so. Like, he has blessed me, right? I feel blessed. And let me tell you this, when I was laying on that table thinking I was going to die not too long ago, you know who I was praying to, right? Every minute of it, to the time I went unconscious, I was talking to my daughter, and every time I went quiet, I was talking to God. I ain't ashamed to admit it, right? And I was at the point where I'm thinking, just clear me a spot. Yeah, I want to see my loved ones. And that, you know, according to the Bible, that's the only way you're going to see them anyway, is to make right with God. And you will get to see your loved ones again, you know? And that's why I believe what I believe. I don't have no shame in what I believe, you know? I tell people openly, I'll scream it to the rooftops.
I didn't even know what that meant, but it's like hearing a rattlesnake or a gunshot. You never forget it. When you hear it, you instinctively know something is very wrong.
Yeah, it has a very distinct pitch to it, and the sound, the mechanism itself, when that slide goes back on that weapon, and we do know that I believe, if I'm correct, it was a 6 Sauer that he had. When that thing is racked back, it has a very definitive sound to it. That round is ejected, and of course he forgets about it apparently at that point in time and leaves us behind. Yeah, well, there
The
you go.
Menendez brothers, yes, I believe they're guilty. You know, they were. Yeah, I just believe they're guilty. I'll leave it at that, because we gotten so off topic. I didn't stop talking about the Delphi murders because I didn't got so triggered with the West Memphis 3. You know what I'm saying? It's triggered me like I can't even believe it. Like it's like when I leave here tonight, I'll be thinking about it. Right? That's how triggering it is to me, and I don't really need to stress myself out on that. But for some of you people that don't know, I will try to educate you guys a little bit on the case tomorrow night. All right. So we'll go over some of the stuff that was said, some of the stuff that was said in court. If I go play, you know, Paradise Lost, they will strike the video down. But if I play the court things and the interviews, they'll let me run that here. The devil comes in different forms. That is absolutely true. You know what I'm saying? And if we learn anything, is like a lot of these celebrities, a lot of these music people, a lot of these people are really bad. And they have been for a long, long time. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Okay.
There you go.
Technical legal term, idiot. Hold on. Rich Schoenstein, you're a veteran trial lawyer. Aren't you supposed to school your clients about how to behave in the courtroom? I mean, I always see defendants, murder defendants, drug lords, rapists, child molesters come in court looking like they're a Wall Street banker. I'm like, who is that? Do you remember, let's think, Scott Peterson? I would watch him walk into court every morning like the football quarterback. He'd be all puffed up in an awesome suit, looking great. I didn't think he looked great or handsome, but other people did. Who else? Ted Bundy. Menendez brothers. I'm hearing it in my ear. Yeah, the Menendez brothers come into courtroom looking like they're freshmen at Harvard. And they have their defense attorney picking lint off them and petting them in court. You know what? Stop. And Ted Bundy even looks charming in the courtroom. It's freaky. But their lawyers had them schooled. This idiot turns around and glares at the victim's grandma and Susan, our Susan Hendricks, glares at her in the courtroom. Oh, I hope he does that to the jurors. I just hope. He has not been schooled, Schoenstein.
No, not at all. And you're absolutely right. You got to teach your defendant how to act in court, because whether he testifies or not, and this guy's not testifying, so forget about that. He's going to be watched every second he's in that courtroom. The jury's going to have their eyes on him. They're going to see how they act. And the bottom line, Nancy, is if they think he's creepy, if he acts creepy, he's in big trouble.
Yeah, but here's the thing is to get back onto the Delphi stuff, is you have so many other people that could have done it. And his defense lawyer, if I'm sitting here bringing it up Anthony Shots, Keegan Klein, the child P, he catfished him. You don't think his defense attorney is going to bring up what I'm saying? Right? And if they rule where he can't talk about that stuff, then all they're trying to do is railroad this man into prison. That's it. Like if you have a defense, you should be able to walk into court and say your defense. If this is what you think and you believe and there's evidence to back that up, right? Then you should be able to say it in the court of law. If they stifle him from doing that, then they're trying to railroad a man into prison. I mean, he could have done it, right? He could be the bridge guy, but he would have to be connected to Anthony Shots. I mean, maybe not, though. Maybe not. I mean, it would be some crazy ass odds, right? Crazy, crazy odds that this man just happened to lead these girls to where a killer was at. That would be some crazy odds. So I think, his defense attorney should hammer home. There's so many other suspects in this case. Why do you think my guy is the guy that did it?
This is the creepiest crime imaginable, killing 2 young girls in the middle of the woods. And if the jury sees him and thinks he's a creep, it's going to be so much easier for them to convict him. And if I was this guy's lawyer, I would be working with him on that extensively.
Hey, and what about O.J. Simpson? May he rot in hell. He would sit there and doodle the whole time. Hey, Karen Stark, this is a visceral thing. How you don't stare at somebody on the elevator. You ever been in a restaurant and you look over and somebody's just staring at you? So you don't look back. And then when you do look back, they're still staring at you. There's something weird and awkward about that. Did you hear what Schoenstein just...
He does look a little creepy. Okay. But have y'all seen Keegan Klein? Have y'all seen Keegan Klein? Keegan Klein is the most creepiest looking nasty ass dude you could ever see. Okay. So, I mean, and he's Anthony Shots. And Anthony Shots is the person that led these girls to the train trestle.
Just said he's a veteran trial lawyer, and he's right. How do you hide your creepy in court? This guy...
The trial starts October 14th. Okay. I will be in Savannah on the 9th, 10th, and however damn long Leilani hoped by the 14th she's done, because then I'm leaving there and I'm flying to Delphi. Okay. So, his court starts on the 14th, October 14th. Leilani starts jury selection October 9th. So I'm going to be there at least by the 10th in Savannah to go watch her justice be served on her ass. Okay. With a smile on my face. And then I'm going to fly out to Delphi. So myself, I'm not saying Richard Allen is innocent. I'm just saying you have to prove to me how this crime is connected and how all this took place to make me think this man has something to do with it. What they have on him is like, I don't know if he's crazy. He got to jail and he's not mentally right. Then maybe he did confess to something he didn't do. But physical evidence, they really don't have anything. They have an unspent bullet casing. They say came out of his gun. That bullet could have came out of any gun. They barely get forensics right on the damn shot bullet. So you expect me to believe that they got an unspent bullet and they know for a fact it came from his gun? Now, some people say it matches rounds to his gun or whatever shit. I don't know. But I don't really think there's much to it. And I ain't saying he's innocent. I'm just saying that you got to prove that he's guilty and how this all happened. If not, there's doubt. And where there's doubt, you can't find the man guilty.
I can't hide his creepy. He's going to have to look down and write notes like Simpson wrote, I did it. And, whatever he was drawing over there. And also another thing, Karen Stark, while I've got you, it's visceral. Remember, we've been told when you're going to go feed an animal.
You got to remember, though, they're saying it's his bullet, but the girls won't shot. Okay? They won't shot. So what does the bullet, other than the fact that it was there, he was there. He admits that he was there. He was on the trestles that day, right? How do we know he didn't drop a bullet, right? There's other ways a bullet can get somewhere. If the girls won't shot, okay, maybe he dropped a bullet. And if he didn't lead them there, and he didn't know them, it gets weird. It's if you took Keegan Klein out of it, and I would say, okay, yeah, I don't know, right? He confessed. There's, why did he confess? But with Keegan Klein in it, I believe Keegan is responsible for the deaths of these girls. Now, who killed them? I don't know, but I know this: Keegan Klein's responsible for it because he's Anthony Shots.
Animal at the zoo or in various encounters, you don't look them in the eye because they perceive that as a sign of aggression. Okay, I'm just speaking frankly and plainly to you as if I would tell a jury. I'm sure there's all sorts of, what?
No, they had motions the other day for Leilani. Her jury selection is the 9th, okay, and then her trial starts. I'm already looked it up. Trust me, if I'm planning to go to Georgia, I look to see when the court date was. All right. So if anything changes, if it gets pushed back or anything, of course, then, I'll just shoot out to Delphi. Richard Allen starts October 14th. Leilani starts October 9th. So just to fill you in.
Can I say mental and psychological analysis of what I'm saying? But the fact that this guy turns around and eyeballs in an alarming way, a menacing way, Susan Hendricks, she's just sitting there with the grandma, for Pete's sake, and looking at the victim's family like that, it's wrong. Okay, help me out. Give me the psychological term of what I'm trying to tell you.
It's nonverbal behavior, Nancy, and we have to watch that nonverbal behavior because.
No, I didn't see a light. I didn't really even feel them shock me back. Okay. When I woke up, I just felt a bunch of pressure. That's it. Did I see anything? I seen the doctor. I remember the last thing he said to me. He said, "Can I sub up your YouTube channel?" Right. And I was like, huh? Right. And that's what he said to me. That's the last thing I remember before I went unconscious. He said, "Can I sub up your YouTube channel?" And did I see anything? No, I didn't. I don't think it wasn't my time. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't go towards the light. I stayed there until he brought me back. So I wasn't ready to go. I told the doctor I wasn't ready to go. And he promised me, he said, "Don't worry. You're going to wake back up. You're going to see your family again. And I'm going to make sure of that." And then he said something like, "Can I sub up your YouTube channel?" And I was boop. And, it's one of those things where you're semi-conscious. And like, as soon as they were taking me out of the lab, I woke up and I seen my daughter. And then it made me feel so good, right? Like, I don't know if it was joy or a relief came over me. Okay. But the fear was gone. I knew I was here. I mean, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I got a heart doctor's appointment tomorrow, matter of fact. Okay, I go see the heart doctor, look at all the stuff, the ultrasounds and stuff they did in my heart. And so that's a little nerve wracking. But, as far as people asking me, did I see the light or did I see Jesus or did I see anything? No, I seen the back of my eyelids. Okay. Cause I wasn't ready to go, and God don't take you before your time.
As Joseph Scott said, this is menacing. And unfortunately, if you think about these two little girls with this man who's daring in the courtroom, he's boldly staring. And yes, you want to have eye contact under certain circumstances. You're taught not to look away. But this guy, he has no shame. He actually.
Oh, I did. I looked up about the teeth, going to the dentist because I was going to go get my teeth cleaned and everything. It says you got to wait 6 months. Okay. I am going to speak with my doctor tomorrow. And, but, I'm going to wait. I can wait. I mean, I got all my teeth. I ain't got no cavities and nothing. I was just trying to get them cleaned. So I'll just wait it out. It ain't no big deal. I can still bite you. You know what I'm saying? So we good.
Wants to come across this way, like, I dare you to condemn me.
Please join us on our mission to little teen girls. And from what we hear, there may be evidence that this 13 and 14-year-old little girl were actually mutilated. mutilated. By who? According to prosecutors, the local pharmacy tech. I mean, how many times do you think he saw them come in and out of the pharmacy? And then the bullet that was cycled through the gun. You heard Joe Scott describing racking the gun. That bullet fell, according to the state, near the bodies. An idiot, aka the defendant, Richard Matthew Allen, age 51, left it there. Now just think about it. For so long, details about the crime scene were kept under wraps. And I've got to hand it to LE law enforcement that didn't come out because they later, pursuant to warrant, I would like to add, because Schoenstein's listening to me, pursuant to warrant, they go into Allen's home and they find the gun still there.
Good night, Amber.
Because he didn't realize he left the bullet back there. It matches the gun in his home. That ballistics evidence is so powerful if what we're being told is the evidence is actually true.
That's right, if it's true. But Nancy, you got to remember, right, that wasn't a fired bullet. That was a bullet that was ejected out the gun. It never, the reason bullets get marks on it, right, is because it spins. As it spins, the barrel of the gun has grooves in it, okay? Them grooves are different, like a fingerprint. Every gun is different. So as that bullet spins, it puts those grooves into the bullet. And under the microscope, they look at the gun, the barrel of the gun, and then they can match those grooves to the barrel of the gun. This bullet was never fired, Nancy. This is an ejected bullet, okay? This is a bullet that's never been fired out of a gun. So to be like forensically, it goes to that gun, and that's a little bit of a stretch. Have you ever seen somebody convicted over an ejected bullet from a gun? Usually when you see forensic evidence on a bullet, it's a bullet that's been fired, okay? Not a bullet that won't. Make it make sense.
So much.
And the girls won't shot. Allegedly.
Much happening in the courtroom. So much. Guys, listen to this.
The defense wants 4 sanctions. They want the court to tell jurors the prosecution violated rules with a delay in turning over exculpatory evidence. They want the judge to allow the defense to play any video that was belatedly produced without state objection. The defense.
If YouTube would let me show what I want to show, I would show you right here that it don't leave marks on the bullet. Okay? I just can't show you guys, right? Because YouTube frowns upon that. But I would eject one for you and show you, right? That I can put it in there, eject it, and it'll come out looking just as new as when I put it in there. Now, if I fired it, it would look totally different. So to buy this whole story that this ejected bullet that they mysteriously found, I don't buy it. I just hate to say it. I truly don't. I don't buy that part of it. I ain't saying he didn't do it now. I'm just saying you got to prove this in a court of law because you're innocent to proving guilty, right? I know a lot of people say you're guilty to proving innocent, but I'm still one of those people that believe you innocent to proving guilty. You know, you got to prove this, that, you know, and I'm sure that they're going to have experts, just like in every other case, his defense is going to have experts to say, hey, that bullet could have ejected from any gun. Okay, you cannot determine an ejected bullet. If that bullet was fired, it'd be a whole different story. Okay. Microscopic marks. Okay, well, I mean, that's tricky because, listen, every bullet would be different because when you put the bullet in there, depending on which way the bullet's facing, like if it's spun, I just don't think that's bullshit. I've never in any other case in the history of forensic bullets ever heard of them trying to prosecute somebody on an ejected round. Okay, unless the shell casings were left at a crime scene. Okay. And do you ever hear them looking for marks on the shell casing? No, they always check the bullet. Okay, it's always the bullet. They fire it into the water, and then they put it under the microscope. They make a mold of the barrel of the gun, and then they match the two. I've never heard of a case where they've used an unspent bullet. and been like, oh, we got this unspent bullet. I mean, that's just for me. Maybe it has happened and I've never seen it. I ain't saying it hasn't happened. I'm just saying I've never seen it. Okay. Has it happened? Maybe so. Maybe they've used unspent bullets. I've never in my life seen it done. Okay. Any of y'all guys ever seen it done? Can you think of one court case that you've watched where they used an unspent round as their witness? That's the main thing. One bullet. You've seen it? Okay. Well, I haven't ever seen it. That maybe so. Right. I'm just telling you my life experiences. I've never seen it done. Never. And I watch it, believe it or not, I watch a lot of court cases. I watch a lot of court TV. I watch a lot of Nancy. I'm damn true crime constantly, right? I've never seen it. So.
Defense also wants to prevent the state from rebutting evidence former Rushville Police Chief Todd Glick provided on May 1st, 2023, and they want to prevent the prosecution from using any data or info from Liberty German's phone in evidentiary presentations.
My stars, what else do they want? A shopping spree at Nordstrom's? That's a lot. Hey, quick answer.
Now, if there was a fingerprint on the bullet, okay, if they had his fingerprint off the bullet, that'd be one thing, right? But they're not claiming that they got a fingerprint, right? Now a cat hair found, I don't buy it. There's things that make me question it. Okay. I ain't saying he didn't do it. I ain't saying that. So you ain't got to convince me that he's guilty, right? I'm just saying some of the things that they're saying, I don't completely buy. And if they can tie him into these people and this was a conspiracy to murder these little girls, I could buy that. Okay. I may be able to buy that if there's some type of conspiracy, but if it's just him, I don't know. That seems a little damaging, right? Like, I just think there's too much to argue, in the way they treated him is not like they treat any other inmate, right? Most people that break the law and suspected of a crime, they go to jail. They have a fair and speedy trial. He hasn't got a fair and speedy trial. His lawyers couldn't talk to him without officers being present. That violates your constitutional rights. He didn't waive his rights to a fast and speedy trial like Brian Kohlberger and all these other people that's going to court next year, right? You had the judge demanding his lawyers be fired. You had them trying to give him a lawyer that was friends with the judge. When have you ever heard that happening in any other case? Right? There's some corruption going on in this case. There's some corruption going on. Why? I have no clue. I have no clue why they're doing it. I just know that everything in this case, what makes it so strange, is everything is not adding up. Right? If it was just 1 + 1 = 2, I would go, okay, they got your ass, right? But it's not. It's like there's all kind of different equations in the mix, right? Like it don't make any sense. It is bizarre. Needless to say, and if you think it's not bizarre, then I don't think you really been following the Delphi case, because everything about it is bizarre. This dude hasn't been convicted of a crime, and they're walking him around like Hannibal Lecter, face mask, shackles, boom, boom, put him in prison, not jail. Okay, he had to see his lawyer through the damn chuck hole in the prison till recently, right? They had to literally go to court and fight to have privacy with their client, right? So that sounds a little strange, a little bizarre to me. I don't know about you guys, right? And then the crime scene looks like some shit from the occult. All right. Do they have any ties? Does he have any ties to the occult? Why does it look like some Satanists or some other people committed this crime and staged the crime scene? Does this guy have any connections to stuff like that? Can you prove that he may be a devil worshiper or worship him Odinism or something like? Can you fill me in on that? Because this looked like a ritualistic crime that has taken place. I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking if I was sitting there on the jury and you were saying these things to me, right? Would I be able to? The most damaging thing is the confessions. We know that. That's the most damaging thing in the Delphi murders is these confessions. So I was going to take calls tonight, but we got caught up talking about, remember when I said, let's keep it on track? I was the one that went off track tonight. I told everybody on the phone calls, I was like, can you keep it on what we're talking about? And then I just went into a 2-hour rant on the damn West Memphis 3, so I got so sidetracked tonight myself. So I apologize to you guys because it's getting late and I got to get ready to wrap it up. So we're not going to get to the Maddie Soto stuff tonight, which is crazy. Tomorrow we will go over some of the West Memphis 3 stuff, right? I'll show y'all some clips from why I think these people are guilty and they're child killers. We will go over the Maddie Soto stuff that I was going to go over tonight, tomorrow. Okay. So my question tonight is, I guess, since I went over to Summer Wells, do you guys think a lot of these YouTube creators just left this little girl behind for bigger, better things? And if that's true, are you really a child advocate, or are you just somebody out here chasing clicks and views off that kid's name? Also, right, if you are seeing the West Memphis 3 and you know about Paradise Lost and you follow this case, and I know a lot of you guys think they're innocent. And listen, I ain't mad at you if you think they're innocent, just like Karen Reed. If you think the West Memphis 3 are innocent or you believe they're guilty, let me know in the comment box down below, because we're going to be talking about that a little bit tomorrow. Also, in the Delphi murders, do you think Richard Allen is guilty? And if you do, what do you think about Keegan Klein being Anthony Shots? All right, that's my questions for the replay crew. And you guys, don't answer it in the side chat, but when this video ends, in the comment box down below, and I love reading your comments in the morning, guys. When I wake up, that's the first thing I do is read y'all's comments. Let me know what you think, okay? And if you haven't yet, hit the like on this video. I'm about to go watch me some Blacklist on Netflix for about an hour before I fall asleep. You guys be good. You guys be safe. And don't be a Satanist, okay? God loves you. Dolly loves you too. Be good. Peace.